Oh, thank you to whoever liked the live. This is just a check-in tonight. We're just gonna check in. Hi, is it Glow? Kitoko? I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. Hi you guys? Happy Thursday. How is everyone doing? How is everyone feeling? Everyone all right? How have you guys been? Thank you, everyone who's liking the live, by the way. I love that you guys just do that. I love y'all so much because I definitely be forgetting. I don't ever come up here and just be like the live, dude. Y'all just do it. So I'm super grateful that y'all rock with me. Thank you guys. Hi everyone. Have you guys had a good week? I hope the week has been treating you guys all right. No one better be messing with my readers. I know that much. Okay. Hi, Danny. I'm well, Dion. I think I remember you from the last live too. Welcome back. I'm happy to see you back. I've been well. One more time. How has everyone else been? How have you guys been? Noah. I like that. I actually really love that, by the way. Noah, you said, I just randomly found you. How did you find me? What do you do? You know what? I'll simplify it. I am a writer, and I also would just say I'm under the business umbrella. We'll put it like that. I'm a businesswoman, and I'm also a writer. That's my trade. To simplify it, girl, I don't even know. I don't know. Currently trying to figure that out, if I'm being honest with you. Let's see, how do I? Thank you to everyone liking the live, by the way. Thank you guys so much. I'm sorry, I'm just sorting out a couple of things too. Someone said you got great energy. Thank you. Thank you. I was just laughing the other day because it's something that I realized about myself. Thank you, everyone coming in and liking the live. You guys are chef's kiss. I love y'all down. But there was a family member of mine, and they got so upset. They were so mad because I had told them something, but I wasn't saying it being messy. It was like, just typical stuff, us just talking. And they went back and they told the family, like what I said. And this person got egg in their face because everyone in the family was like, but she wasn't lying though. She wasn't lying. Everyone's got weekend. This person got so mad with me. They were like, if it was me, it would have been an issue, X, Y, and Z. And I was like, I told you this before. Cue the Dr. Umar clip. I told you this before. You are not me. You are not me. You can't do what I do. But I genuinely do think that it's because people can sense your energy. So when you say something, even if you're like trying to give someone a warning about something, I feel like the people who receive it well can sense the energy behind it. I believe in that. Even people who are just like, oh, I'm not really spiritual. I don't really believe in that woo-woo stuff. But people, when you speak, it radiates a frequency. That's why people are so moved by music. Even if there's no lyrics to it, if there's no vocalist, someone can be moved by an instrumental. And just hearing the instruments and stuff like that, people can be moved by that. So I believe that people will pick up on your energy and your frequency through whatever it is that you're saying, simply from your tone alone. And I definitely feel like it's just the fact that when people say I have good energy, it's because I'm coming from a genuine place. Yeah, it's really that simple. Even when people will ask me like, girl, how did that work out for you and stuff like that? I'm like, I don't have no tips or tricks for you. It's nothing extraordinary. I mean, I am very passionate about whatever it is that I create or what I do. And I try my best to just be consistent with it. Even with this YouTube space, I'm consistent. It's just my method is I wait to launch certain things. That's my personal recipe, but there's never a moment where I'm not thinking about something, curating something, especially curating it on a different platform. And you guys are going to start seeing more of that anyways, where I'm broadening my horizons and things like that, because this is my baby. You know, my social media platforms is what put me on the map, but the goal is obviously for us to expand. And I also want to make sure that with this beautiful ecosystem, you guys are expanding as well. I don't believe that it should just be a one-way street. That's why when you guys come to me with your issues or with your roadblocks, I go out of my way to figure out how I can utilize whatever it is that, you know, God has blessed me with to pour it back into the people who he sent to me. I don't think that this was by happenstance or by chance. It's genuinely a blessing. So yeah, I appreciate that compliment. I really do. And for people who ask me like, well, what is it? I had someone on my last live ask me like, are you under the influence? And I'm like, no, just a lot of the time I'm laid back. So having good energy, I believe, is just tied to a person's intentions at large. I think you need like 50 subs for what? To go live? Oh, okay. Do you write poetry? You know what? With the previous work that I did, it was more poetry-like. It was the formatting of it. It was designed to be very straightforward and simple. It was a compilation of quotes, essentially, that were meant to be subjective. And whoever read it, it could mean whatever it is that they needed that quote to mean for them at that given point in time. So when I was creating, well, first and foremost, becoming acquainted with the literary space, those were more like poems. The stuff that I was initially publishing, it was more poem-like. Now I actually have concepts, like more storytelling, but not necessarily getting into the story. Instead, accumulating the lessons from it to where more people can apply that information. I feel like sometimes getting too much into the nitty-gritty of my personal life, my viewpoints, my experiences, even though we can have a lot of overlap, people's process as far as coming to a particular conclusion or how they were impacted by a particular thing looks completely different. So I do the best that I can to keep things kind of objective in that regard. When I put certain content out, I will throw in like some pointers here and there as far as like my point of view or personal experiences, just because it's natural, it's organic, if I feel like it's relative to whatever it is that I'm talking about or doing, but I don't make that my foundation. So yeah, very talkative, I'm sorry. My fault, my fault. Hi, welcome. Respect seems like you eradicate. Ooh, big word for Elmo. I like that, Kennedy. You eradicate a lot of wisdom. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's another thing that I'm big on. I don't just want to get up here and talk about foolishness. That's another reason why I'm big on back to the drawing board seasons. That is so funny. I'm not big on astrology, with all due respect, but I do understand that people have like different practices and stuff like that. I get the wrong sign every single time. People never guess like my, I guess, quote unquote sign. You have Pisces eyes like a fish. I know, I do look like a fish. I joke and I say I look like the Lola character from Shark Fate. What do you call it, Shark Tale? I do, I look just like a fish. I do, I look like a little fish. And that's why it's like, I think my vibe, and when people ask me like, someone say yes, what? Girl, not y'all chewing me up in the comments. Dang, like, what did I even do? Like, what did I even do wrong for real? Like, that's crazy. I do. So what? What's it to you? What y'all finna do about it? And what are y'all finna do about it? What y'all finna do? What y'all finna do? Okay. So what? And I look like a fish. Okay. What now? Oh, now you want to call the cops? Now you want to call the cops? You don't like that pressure, huh? You thought you was gonna provoke me into a response or something? Now what? I do look like a fish. I look just like Lola from Shark Tales. Now what? What are we gonna do now? Oh no, baby, I don't have soulless eyes. I don't have that. That I don't have. Oh, now she backtracking. A pretty fish. Lola is a pretty fish, okay. Girl, someone said, why are they here? To be honest, I ain't even mad at it. I ain't even mad at it. That must mean something, right? Hi, Ashlyn. I don't know who Gloved is. I don't know who that is. Thank you to everyone who liked the live, by the way. Thank you, babes. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Dion. I think eradicate is the wrong word to use. What's a good synonym? What do you think he was trying to say? He or she. Thank you for liking the live. Someone said you're rising Pisces. What does that mean? I don't know though. I do look like a fish, especially like when I get on camera and stuff. I don't know what that's about. I don't know what to tell y'all. Someone said you're a yapper, yes, and the goal is to continue being compensated for such. Syracuse, New York in the chat. Shout out to New York. I need to come see about New York. I really do. I feel like there's a couple of places, and not even just in the US, but like globally, that I feel like has something for me. And I feel like I need to go see about that. And New York is one of them in the US. I also think Africa is going to be really big for me. And a family member of mine, we've been trying to figure something out as far as getting a trip planned for Africa. We specifically want to go to Nigeria. But yeah. You were right about what I navigate was rare. Now I'm in a new situation where the person is nonstop at the baiting. I mean, you could see it in the comment section of my live right now. But I think I made, was it a TikTok? I might have also posted it on my YouTube short. Dang, what was the title? Prepare for the pushback. The warfare will intensify when you're not biting the bait, when you're not reacting to the provocation attempts. And I have so many videos on my platform talking about provocation. And this is also big energetically, in my personal opinion and experience, in all honesty. But energetically, this is big too. When you realize that there's a bunch of provoking going on in your atmosphere and you're like, what is going on? Why does this keep happening? You're at the brink of a breakthrough. Your breakthrough is right around the corner when the pressure keeps going. And when I was doing my devotional time earlier this week, because I don't know, like for me in this season of my life, I don't handle pressure the same way that I did a couple years ago. I don't know why. I don't know what God put in me. I don't know, but maybe it's because of so much trial and error to where now it's almost like it ricochets off of me, but mentally it just doesn't phase me the way that it used to. And that's another reason why God encourages us to embrace patience as one of the fruits of the Holy Spirit, because when you're on the right track, you're going to have a constant adversary to detour you and to distract you from whatever it is that God is doing. And sometimes that's the reason why God won't pull you out of the situation, or that's the reason why God will kind of allow it to happen. He won't block it. So when people are like, I've been praying to God, why do I have all these people who are coming against me and hating on me? It's because patience is being instilled in you, and you're going to need that for whatever it is that he's calling you to. And the people who he's calling you to, it's all going to be used for a greater good. And I just never have been in a situation or been in a season where immense pressure and provocation was happening or baiting was happening and there wasn't a blessing around the corner. The determining factor is just how you deal with it. And that's why patience is going to be so important. So yeah, don't bite the bait. Don't trip off of it. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And quiet as it's kept, as you evolve, this is a whole other situation, but you guys know I'm big on transmutation. And I talked a little bit about, like, I low-key feel like an alchemist sometimes, even though I don't get into like the actual practices of it. I didn't know that there was an actual practice associated with that title. But when I was in high school, I read the book, The Alchemist. It was assigned to us for one of our English courses. And I just really resonated with that book, because the meaning behind the publication is learning how to take the good with the bad and make the best out of the situation, no matter what cards you've been dealt in life. And I just believe in that. As a believer, I genuinely believe when God says that he will work all things around for the good of those who are called according to his purpose and who love him. I haven't seen that not prevail. It's always rang true. So in this juncture of my life, I just know, like, if the pressure is getting worse, that means the blessing is right there. Don't get distracted. Don't get discouraged. Stay the course. You're right exactly where you need to be. And that's a whole other conversation for another day. Like, when you are a believer, warfare, if you feel like you're going through like a lot of trials and tribulations, that's actually not a bad thing. That means you're on the right track. Yeah. If you don't feel like you're in a pressure cooker, then you're not really doing nothing spiritually. You're not holding up your spiritual weight. You're not. I'm gonna just be honest with you. People will only attack and bait someone who actually has something worth provoking or trying to take from. Like, don't get discouraged. No one is going to try to, this is the best way to put it, no one is going to try to take from someone who has nothing to offer. And that's what provoking and baiting is all about. It's exchanging some kind of currency and energy from that negative interaction. And when you don't give them that, they walk away empty-handed. And that's why they'll keep going. But that's also dissected in the publication in the Lion's Den, Navigating Systems of Power. It talks about how sometimes your vindication it's going to be uncomfortable for people who were dedicated to like beating you down and making sure that you never rise to the occasion, making sure that you hide out of fear or feel inadequate. I have so many things that, oh my gosh, I can't wait to put out for you guys. This year was very powerful for me. And one of my biggest takeaways thus far is, even if you're dealing with your name being ran through the mud, you're dealing with the smear campaign, whatever, people tag teaming against you, all of that, it won't matter at the end of the day when you don't need their validation to fulfill your purpose. Your purpose has nothing to do with public acceptance or understanding. And the goal is just to fulfill your purpose. That's it. So the peace that comes with that is unmatched. You're unbothered. It really don't matter. To be honest, I'm in a phase right now where it just don't matter. I had someone in the comments saying I look like a fish, and I'm agreeing with him. It just don't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter. And I'm still here. And the purpose is still getting fulfilled. It just don't matter. Yes. Love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, kindness, mildness, faith, self-control. Against such things there is no law. Amen. I believe that's Galatians 5:21 through 23 or 24. So if I have believers, fellow believers in the chat, and if you want to study that scripture, go ahead and do so. Oh, thank you. Know thyself. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Bridget. Thank you, Glow. Is it Kotoko? Forgive me if I'm butchering it. Glow Kitoko. Amen. That's right. You know, I don't care. I just don't. I don't got it in me, y'all. I don't. Sometimes I'll be feeling so bad because, like, sometimes you'll encounter people and when they're still in that emotional phase of their life, and you're just looking at them like, I can't go back and forth with you right now. I love you. I see you're in your feelings. I'ma just hang up the phone, okay? That's where I'm at with it. And I still love you down. I love you to pieces. Like, but you're all emotional and all over the place. You're not regulated. And I'm not in that season. I just don't care. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't. That's all I got. When it comes to the drama and the negativity, I ain't got it in me for real. Thank you. Thank you. Everyone's saying you're so pretty. You look so perfect. Hi, is it Sieta Fatima? That's a beautiful name. Hi. Hi, you guys. Someone said, I think you radiate wisdom. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, greetings from Buffalo, New York. Shout out to New York. Hi, Richard. Dee Dee, London here. Shout out to London. You guys have a lot of dope artists coming up out of there. I didn't know y'all had it like that. But it's a lot of good music coming out from over there. So I think globally too. I seen someone say something along the lines of, stop giving these foreigners our jobs, Americans. And I'm like, I don't view it that way though. Like growing up, we had Shakira. Like, you know, it's like the goal is for us to merge. You see what I mean? And expand and build with one another. I don't view it that way. I don't know. I just don't. So I'm excited to see what other people are bringing to the table. And I also didn't like the narrative where like people were saying Americans aren't accepting of other people's art and stuff like that. I'm like, where is that narrative coming from? This is literally a melting pot. This land is a melting pot by default. I was like, where is that coming from? Especially when we talk about music and entertainment. I was like, no. Or like having a pompous stance or attitude. I'm like, I'm very much so supportive of people from other regions and stuff like that. Ideally, I want to see more collaborations. I want to see those worlds not necessarily even collide, but come together. I do. I think it's really nice. Shoot, I just did, for my music marketing, my brand and music marketing or brand and music psychology series. I forgot what I had titled it, but I was bigging up someone who's not even from America. Like that's not, so that was really exciting, you know? And I've always done that in the past, even before I was on social media, or at least in the capacity of like YouTube lives, TikTok and stuff like that. Good music is good music. But that is a fun fact about me though, that a lot of people probably don't know, I had a very eccentric upbringing. So like, I didn't do conventional extracurricular activities. I did karate, which was like more so in alignment with like my father and stuff like that. My father was really big on those kinds of things. So he taught me, first and foremost, the importance of reading. So he would take me to a public library. I had to go talk to local authors. He enrolled me in karate. He also, right before I went to college, he gifted me the Art of War book. So that's just always been my dad, but that's his culture. So it is what it is. But some additional extracurricular activities that I went into was music related. So learning about different instruments. I even in college, we took a music course, like a psychology course, the psychology behind music and things like that. And that class consisted of us listening to music worldwide and learning about the culture and the way that they personally, depending on like the country, wherever it was, how they utilize instruments to convey their culture and convey a particular message. But I always joke with people and I say I'm like I'm a real like nerd at heart. I know so many random things, or I studied so many random things that people wouldn't even think or know. I don't know. My life is just very eccentric in that way. But yeah, music is one of the ways that I love to see that melting pot come to life. You don't look like a fish to me, more like my wish to me, period, Dion. Thank you. You won, I won, I won. I like that, exactly. Okay, too pretty, I gotta swipe. Okay, well. I started my new college school year. Any advice? I'm just doing math this semester. No, I don't got no, I don't got no advice for you. Nothing. I don't know, girl. What's that one TikTok sound? Just keep going, girl. Just keep going. Even though I know you're not a girl. So don't take it as an offense, but I'm just utilizing a TikTok sound. Girl, just keep going. Just keep going. Let's get into unhinged peoples out here. My brother is, and I have a jersey here. Oh, girl, please. Girl, you finna have to go. Because you just up here lying and... Girl, you're just up here lying and telling stories and just acting a fool in this chat. And I didn't even want to have to do a Rico sweep tonight. I wasn't tripping like that. But you know, once you get to lying and all of that, you just gotta go. And you do. I'm so sorry. Let me check some of the other comments. Oh, how do you go live? Well, it depends on which platform you're referring to. You can tell who's self-cultivated and who's imitating. Ooh, tell me a little bit more about that. Melody says, can you help me? Because me and my friend Stacy are in an argument and she really made me sad. Said that because I have a stepdad and that's why my real dad left me when I was really young. Wow. Well, you know, if I'm gonna keep it a band with you, when it comes to parenting and all of that, as a child, you shouldn't be taking on that responsibility at all. You shouldn't be feeling like anything is your fault, because you didn't ask to be here. Okay. So it's a blessing to be here and to fulfill your purpose, because there was someone, I'm a believer, I'm not sure if you are, by the way, but there was a bigger force that specifically orchestrated you for your purpose and said, like, I need this person here. But as far as your parents are concerned, your parents are human at the end of the day. So they're gonna make mistakes and things like that, or they're gonna act out of emotion. But me personally, no matter what's going on, that's regarding parenting, that's nothing that a child should be taking on. It is the parent's responsibility. to be present, to do what they have to do, and that's not a reflection of the child's behavior or anything like that. You knew what you were doing before the child came here, okay? And now that the child's here, you have a responsibility. And no matter how far you run, no matter where you go, you always have that responsibility. Even if you don't live up to it. And that's just the price that you pay as a parent. So if you have someone who's not living up to that responsibility and you have your stepfather who is now doing so, then at that point, for you anyways, for you as the child, the title doesn't matter. So I don't know if your friend thought she was being shady or cute or whatever, but from the sounds of it, you could tell her, well, I do have a father. It's not my biological father, but it's my stepfather. And he supports me. So I don't really, okay, you have your biological family intact. I have my biological and chosen family intact. Now what? Now what? I have double the dose. I have biological ties and someone who wasn't biologically connected to me who chose to raise me. So now what? You thought that was tea? You know, you gotta stay on him, baby. Stay on him. And by the way, Stacy isn't your friend. She gotta go. Hi, Diva. Short oval nails or coffin? Short, I do short square. I don't like short oval nails or coffin. It doesn't hit on me. But long, stiletto. Stiletto pumps in the club. Yeah. Period. I like stiletto nails. Even though I've been wearing square for like years now, but I don't know, recently I was like, I just want to do something different. I want stiletto nails again. And I've been on it real bad. Long stiletto for me. I'm 5'3.5". That's why I be fighting for my life working out. It's so hard when you're shorter. I was seeing all the short girlies talk about it. Like, I'm trying to figure this out. Because it's not even about the aesthetics portion. Thank you, everyone who liked the live, by the way. I didn't even realize how much it went up. My apologies, you guys. Thank you. But it's not even about the aesthetics. It's just when you're shorter and, oh my gosh, your joints. Like, it just is different. It's different. And, like, my back hurts because, like, I'm not even going to get into that. Bye. But, yeah, just, ciao. Being 5'3.5". I didn't even make the 5'4" cut. That's how ridiculous it is. But yeah, I'm 5'3.5". So if you're on the shorter side, just keep these things in mind, child. I didn't. I see someone putting the laughing emojis. I didn't even make the 5'4" cut. Diabolical. But every time I go and get a physical, they're like, oh, you're 5'3.5". And I'm like, you sure I didn't 5'4"? You sure? I remember I had one physician say, just take your shoes off since you assist. And 5'3.5", I did not make the 5'4" cut. Womp womp. Period. Shout out to you, Glow Kitoko. I've got your post notifications on. Thank you. My name is Malaysia. Oh, I love that name. Beautiful name. Your lashes are so cute. Thank you. I do lash clusters, and it's the same lash mat every single time. 10, 10, 12, 12, 14, 14, 16. On both sides. When do you actually come on live? Please, we miss you. I miss you guys too. I can't remember the last time I went on live, but it'd be random, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's just, I just be coming up here. But I'm gonna try to be a little bit more organized. One of the first things that I plan on doing, we're gonna see how this works out, but the first thing that I plan on doing is Thursday tunes. And that's going to consist of me playing a lot of the musicians who reach out to me, playing their music, and we can review it and listen to it in real time. Look, I have an ecosystem, right? We have the reader community, and I've never been someone who believes in just like sitting on your hands and waiting on someone to give you an opportunity. If they're not rocking with you, create your own opportunity. And I understand a lot of people, like, that may not be their first thought, but that's my first thought. I believe in that. So why not utilize this ecosystem, this reader community, and plug you all's music, talk about you all's music, because the platform is here. So yeah, I actually put that in the chat, and that's in the description box. I'll also be posting the promotional flyers for it as well. It's going to be called Thursday Tunes. So it'll be lives that I do on Thursdays where we listen to you all's music. It's just you have to secure your spot on the link, like utilizing the link on the website so we can actually contact you, get your information, go through your catalog and things like that. Because I've already been receiving inquiries from musicians. And I'm like, okay, let me fine tune this. I actually was not expecting the flood. Like, I knew I had an idea because I see you all's comments. I engage with you guys. I respond to you guys. So I knew that there was a need to accommodate for my musicians in particular, but I wasn't expecting you all to be on it like that. So right now we're going to be doing a filtration process. Another thing that I'm really interested and excited about is connecting people with certain partners. So when you reach out, have some ideas, have some objectives that you want for yourself. So for one, if you already have your marketing budget in line, that's going to be really big for you, because when I contact different partners and stuff like that, they're going to have a price quote for you. So if you need assistance with brand development, that's one of the reasons why I started the music marketing series on my YouTube, brand psychology and all of that, because brand is really important for you to stand out as an artist, especially in this saturated algorithm. It's very competitive on social media. It's very competitive when we talk about getting your work out there. And in order for you to stand out, you have to have a brand, and a consolidated brand. As much as I love to hear people say, like, it's cute in theory as far as like, oh, I don't necessarily believe in eras, or I don't believe in putting myself in a box. Don't put yourself in the box as far as experimentation is concerned. Definitely explore, expand. But if you don't have brand consistency, you won't have a market, because you're signaling disorganization. You're disorganized. If people need to be able to be like, okay, what is it that you're pitching? And is this in alignment with what I need right now? Is this in alignment with what I'm interested in? You have to fine tune your brand so that you can start to fine tune your market. So we're going to be doing a lot of that, breaking down, because a lot of people, the talent is there. The talent is there. That's not a question. It's just we need to do some fine tuning. And one of the first things is going to be brand identification. So we're going to be partnering with certain people in that regard to like sit with you, do one-on-one consultations, talk to you a little bit about like, what are you comfortable with? What are some of the aesthetics that you like? All of that. I'm so excited. As a creative myself, this is like, oh my gosh, this is paradise to me. So yeah, when do I come on live? A designated day at this time will be Thursdays, because we'll be dedicating that day to Thursday Tunes. And that's going to be us playing you all's music, talking about it, having a live discussion. And you also get promotion, right? You get to promote your music in front of hundreds of people. So that's really dope. And obviously as like more views and stuff come in, it can go from hundreds to thousands, right? So that's the goal. No, I don't. Whoever asked that, I'm not sure if you're even still here. I'm sorry, I'm catching up on the older comments. Do you write on Substack? I actually don't. Let me catch up on some of the newer comments. 6'3" is where I'm at. Must be nice. Must be nice. Let me see. I muted this, but I'm still watching for her beauty. I mean, that's fine. I don't know. Whatever. I actually just made a, you know what? Should I talk about this? Women, this isn't any shade to you, Danielle. I mean, it don't matter because you're still going to be here unmuted. So you're not going to hear what I'm saying. Women, let me tell you something. All of my girlies who get up here and say, I'm not a girl's girl, da-da-da-da-da. That's cute. That's real cute. Let me tell you something. On a business marketing tip though, horrible. Horrible. Terrible to say. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I'm really a nerd when it comes to these numbers and statistics. I don't play. Between males and females, your greatest consumer is going to be the female population. For one. Two, when you are marketing, use this as an example, what Daniel put in the comments. I muted this, but I'm still watching for her beauty. When you are a woman, even if you are beautiful, even if you are attractive, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, of course. And if you're solely marketing to the male gaze and you try to convert that to some kind of project, some kind of product, you're not going to see that conversion of consumer purchase. If you solely market to the male gaze. I told someone this over a year ago in the comment section. They mentioned an influencer at the time. Forgot who it was. And I told them I heard their name ringing because they were trending at that point. But I wasn't familiar with their content personally. So I was like, I can't speak on it. But what the person put in the comments, they were telling me like, oh, this person is getting a lot of backlash because they're saying like this person is only seeking male validation and attention, whatever. I wasn't interested in getting into the logistics of that. That's none of my business. And I can't speak on it if I'm not familiar with the creator myself, right? But what I did say in that comment section was I would just give this pointer as a woman speaking to another woman, especially a younger woman. If you are interested in getting into business, becoming a content creator or an influencer, never put yourself in the box of catering to solely the male gaze. Because if, no, I'm not even gonna go there. I'll keep it cute. Never do that. We'll keep it on the statistics. I'm not even gonna go where I really wanna go with it because I'm from Sacramento at the end of the day, so I could really like get real with y'all, but I don't think y'all can take that. I don't think y'all can handle that. Thank you to everyone who keeps liking the live, by the way, too. But statistically speaking, when it comes to marketing and consumers, the female population has always, unless the statistics have changed recently, but to my understanding, they haven't. Female consumers have always outran male consumers. And secondly, a lot of the time, a man will just listen to you. He's not interested in what you're talking about. I'll never forget years ago, there was a man who was going viral on, I think it was Twitter at the time, and he made a tweet and he said, it was his wife, ended up becoming his wife. He said, I bought my wife's $1,000 package or something. She was selling something. And he said, the only reason why I did it is because I wanted to talk to her. I didn't care nothing about what she was selling. I didn't care anything about what she was doing. So if you want consistent consumers and engagement, okay, as a business owner, as a woman, do not solely subject yourself to the male gaze. It's great. I'm happy to have Daniel here. I appreciate you, Daniel, in the chat. But that is one of the worst marketing moves that you can do as a woman. And that's the reason why I'm expanding in the business sector, because a lot of women aren't aware of these statistics and these moving components. Marketing is a strategy. Everything about marketing is a strategy. I also had some content I was putting out a couple days ago breaking down to people. It's also two forms of marketing that's really big on social media. I'm gonna get so nerdy, you guys. I'm gonna get so nerdy. I'm so sorry in advance, but like I'm really passionate about this kind of stuff. There's two sectors under the marketing umbrella at large when it comes to social media content creation, all of that. You have a marketing strategy that is big on bringing in attention. So this is the kind of content where it can bring in hundreds of thousands to millions of viewers to watch. A lot of the times it evokes a very intense reaction or response, whether it be shock, whether it be humor, whether it be sadness. That's where you get the term like clickbait, for example. That is a particular marketing strategy within that sector. So there's a marketing principle that's bringing in attention. There's a completely different marketing strategy and principle that comes with taking that attention and converting it to a successful sale. I want you guys, especially musicians, I want you guys to get to the point to where you're able to convert the viewer's attention to a successful sale. One of the craziest things that I seen was and I've been seeing it all my life, right? We talk about it, we have these discussions, but I never get up here and talk about numbers in that way, like in that derogatory way for that particular reason. We see it, right? An artist, they put out a project and people are like, how do you have millions of people and you only sold X amount of records or whatever? Immediately my mind goes to, it's easy to do that though, because they've mastered one marketing strategy. And that's not easy to do in itself. It's really not. But it's a completely different marketing strategy that you have to learn to convert the attention to a purchase, to a sale. So consumer conversion it's a completely different ball game. So yeah. I'm so sorry, y'all. I got so nerdy. I am so sorry. Lip combo. Crown Queen Cosmetics lip glaze in the shade number 6. Revolution Beauty Pout Bomb plumping lip gloss in the shade Milky Sheer Hollow. Same exact lip combo every time. Consumer conversion. What part is that? Oh my gosh. Google it. Google consumer conversion. But I just told you. I literally... Were you listening or y'all just coming into the live? Were you listening, boo? Were you listening to me? Or you got me muted too? You got me muted? It's the process of actually influencing a consumer to purchase. So when the consumer, I'll give you an example. If a consumer comes onto, let's say you sell hair, say you're a hair vendor, they'll come onto your website, but what actually influences them to click on a product and purchase it? So that is a consumer actually converting to a successful sale. Yes, 916 in the building. Someone said, I love your nerdy mind. Thank you, I appreciate that. You were talking to a real one. Oh, okay. What part of Sac? Started out in North Sac, moved to South Sac, Iraq. A lot of my family is from South Sac. So that's where my real roots are, if I'm gonna be honest. We mainly did South though, South area. But when I was first born, we lived in the North for a minute because my dad had a lot of acquaintances in the North. My dad isn't from Sac, he's from Oakland. But yeah, my mom is, even though it's weird though, my mom wasn't born in California though. But our family ended up migrating to Sacramento, California on my mom's side. Period, thank you. And you are the best looking fish I have seen, period. My sister-in-law is so controlling and nasty. She is so nasty and so rude. She is trying to control my relationship with my both brothers. Oh, both of your brothers, that's crazy. I mean, one of the brothers, whoever she's married to, that makes sense. But both of them is weird. She might be threatened by you. But girl, those are your brothers at the end of the day. I don't know what she got going on. Obviously, you just can't really inject yourself into their relationship if they're already married. You know, your brother already made that decision. But as far as your relationship with your siblings and stuff like that, that's none of her business. She's overstepping. Now, whoever is married to her, he has that choice to be like, okay, well, I don't want to talk to my family no more, you know, out of allegiance to my wife. But your other brother, I don't know what she got going on. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm catching up on the comments. Oh, you put it in here twice. No wonder. I was like, did I scroll back to the same comment? I agree. A strategy. Someone said, take your time, sis, period. And did. And did. But I'm into that kind of stuff, though. Like, I saw a TikTok the other day. I love these kinds of conversations. He had a phenomenal breakdown. And on my TikTok story, I obviously reposted his content. And I said, these are the kind of conversations I have over like candlelit dinners, which is, listen. It gets real nerdy around here because I'm into that kind of stuff in particular. Statistics, business, in particular business statistics. I'm big on that kind of stuff because it's easy to measure. That was I'm not gonna get into that. Let me stay on. That's the thing that I appreciate about the business sector is your success rate is easily measured. Either people are rocking with it or they're not. I like that. I can work with that. I'm not too good with the ambiguity because how do I gauge this? Business is my bag for that reason, because I can easily be like, okay, this didn't work. Let me go back to the drawing board. That's why for me, as someone who is very nerdy when it comes to business statistics and principles and strategies, all of that, that's the reason why I'm so passionate about back to the drawing board seasons. Hold on a second, y'all. Hopefully my lash cluster. Ooh, it's falling a little bit. Hold on. Uh-oh, did I get it? Hold on. I don't want to mess it up, y'all. Where is the lash cluster at? Did I get it, y'all? Y'all help me. Okay, I got it. I'm saying y'all help me like y'all could do something. Y'all can't. But yes, that's the reason why I really do love business principles and strategies, though, because you can actually measure it. So it's no question. You know, if the people ain't rocking with it, they ain't rocking with it. But I saw this man's TikTok and he was breaking down how the consumer is actually what moves the economy. And in order for you to have a thriving and flourishing economy, everyone has to be contributing. But here's the thing, though, this is the pushback that a lot of business owners have been receiving, especially those who are kind of like hoarding, for lack of better words. When you have employees and things like that, pay your employees accordingly if you can afford it. You need to be balancing the scales so people can actively contribute to the consumer pool, because that is the way that the ecosystem stays afloat. People don't understand that. Like, as much as people are talking about like, oh, do both, of course, like have a savings account and all of that, have both of those principles, but it's an art of balance. The ecosystem can only thrive, we can only expand and get more opportunities when there's consumer engagement. If there's no consumer engagement, then there's not going to be opportunities for people to expand. If you have a gift and a knack for a particular thing, it's going to be hard for you to align with the job that is more so in alignment with that talent and gift you have, if there's no financial opportunity for it, because everyone is hoarding. I mean, I talked about this. It was absolutely crazy, because I did kind of like, was it the month of July that I low-key spaced out my content a little bit more, but it was because I knew it was my back to the drawing board season. I was attending a lot of information sessions because I knew I wanted to expand in a particular sector. And the people who were providing consultations, I was shocked, because a lot of them were like, I've been giving this knowledge and stuff like that to Fortune 500 companies for free. And then you have little old me reaching out to them via email and stuff like that, saying like, do you have this as a business? This consultation that you do, is this an official business? And what is your rate? How much is it for me to contact you and to do a one-on-one with you? A lot of these people, if not all of them, were like, girl, I've been doing these presentations for Fortune 500 companies for free for the past 8 to 10 years. And I said, and that's why you're struggling right now. This consultation shouldn't be free. And I just realized that because it's not taught. Business principles, people utilizing their natural gifts and marketing it accordingly, getting their money's worth accordingly. That's not free. That knowledge that you have, that is not free. And it just made me so sad for them. I was like, no wonder you're all over the place and you can't get it right. You shouldn't be piecing all of these things together and you're giving away your precious cargo to a Fortune 500 CEO, CFO for free. And they know this. And they're not helping you because it benefits them to have you under their umbrella free of charge, keeping their business afloat. You need to have your own business. Now, mind you, if you like that pay, I'm not telling you to stop. Do whatever it is. Keep working that job, but start utilizing that gift that you have and develop at least a part-time gig. Your business, that's the beautiful thing about your business, is you set your own schedule with your business. You can provide consultations part-time. or have a designated day out of the week where you're doing consultations all day, and you could build your business in that regard. That was one of the reasons why I specifically developed a career coaching service like over a year ago, because I realized the reader community, or those of you guys in the reader community, you have natural gifts, but people aren't teaching you how to like monetize it. And that's the reason why I wanted to put out that muse video. Are you the muse? Because I realized people who are muses, where people like what it is that you have to offer, but they're not interested in investing in you. If you're not careful, you can end up in like a bad position because there's no reciprocity there. So muses have to learn the art of monetization. I've even said this in the past regarding blueprints, where I'm talking a little bit more about these other archetypes. Blueprints have to build businesses. It's a non-negotiable. Your mind, the way that your mind works, you're not, let me tell you something. I'm gonna even take it as far as saying, if you're a blueprint and if you want to work a job, just for the sake of getting some extra cushion, building a savings or whatever your situation is, I would encourage you, don't even do whatever it is that you feel called to do, pray on it. But for most blueprints, I would suggest you get a 9-to-5 in a sector, in a financial industry, a professional industry that has nothing to do with the business that you want to build. Because whoever you're working under, once they see your talent in that particular area and your potential, either one of two things is going to happen. One of two things are going to happen. They're going to fight to keep you up under that umbrella to keep their business afloat, but they're going to shortchange you. How do they shortchange you? They won't pay you what you're worth so that you're able to build your business and live comfortably. They're going to give you just enough to stay on that job and to barely get by in life. That's why you won't get the promotion. That's why you won't get the raise. That's why you won't move up in the company. Blueprints won't buckle up. Blueprints will not progress in another person's business. You're not going to see your breakthrough there. Sorry, the blueprints will only see your breakthrough when you start your own business. So that's the first example, is they'll fight to keep you up under their umbrella, and they'll shortchange you to where you will never be able to build your business. And they'll monopolize all your time too. That's why your schedule looks crazy. Second is they will sabotage you. They will constantly pull the rug from underneath your feet. So you'll never be able to get a proper footing to where you're comfortable enough to make those investments, to where you're comfortable enough to get by and get things done. They'll keep pulling the rug from underneath your feet, so you constantly have to play catch up in life. And if you're playing catch up, how can you build your business? If you're constantly catching up, how can you build your business? It's going to be really hard to. Not saying it can't get done, but it's going to be very difficult. And that's the reason why it keeps happening, because they know that. So muses must learn the art of monetization, because muses may not feel called to build a business, and it may not be a requirement. I have videos that I put out too, and you guys are really enjoying them too. So I think I'm gonna make this into like a series. I'm just not sure what I'm gonna call it on my YouTube platform yet. But muses don't necessarily have to start a business. They can just learn how to monetize whatever it is that other people are inspired by. Because you could be a content creator, you can be an influencer, and it's not necessarily a business for you, right? Like, meaning like you formally, get it registered as a business and things like that. A lot of people just get up here, they show their routines in their day-to-day life, but they receive brand partnerships, right? Or they get monetized via a social media platform for showing their routines and things like that. So you're receiving monetization, but it's not necessarily a business that you're building. Blueprints, however, have to start businesses. It's a non-negotiable. Blueprints will always find themselves building the next person's businesses up and then being let go after their services have been utilized. Blueprints will experience stop and start seasons. Muses will have to be careful because they'll feel like their cup is always running empty, because they're pouring so much information about their routine or what it is that they do into other people, but they're never receiving that back. Muses have to look out for a lack of reciprocity. Blueprints have to look out for stop and start seasons. I am well, spiritual warrior. I hope you're well. God bless you. Queen. Hi, Jay New Orleans. It's been a minute. It's a pleasure to see you in the chat. I hope you've been all right. Blueprints should leave and avoid being used. Yeah. Well, here's the thing though about business. I've been replay ganging it out. Okay, well, I'm glad to have you in the chat. I am. It's such a pleasure to see you again. Here's the thing about business though. This is why it's a completely different mindset that's required to do business. You will be used as a business owner, especially if you got something to offer. The goal is just to partner with people who understand a barter system. You're using my services here, I'm utilizing your services here. As a business, you gotta get, as a business, you gotta get out of that mindset of fear, because boundaries is what will help you decipher. That's why I talk about different excerpts in different publications and stuff like that, that gives you the tangible breakdown. This is what you look out for a predatory person, a predatory personality and things like that. But in business, you will be used. That's the purpose. That's how you measure if you actually have something worth offering. The issue is the lack of reciprocity or being exploited. That's the thing. Someone said I heard Sack, I had to unmute. Oh, okay. Ha! Shout out to Sack. I call it the headquarters because we're the state capital. Any ideas on dealing with copycats? Ooh, it literally grates my soul. A lot of people are struggling with the copycat and imitation thing. You know what? And it may just be the state of the world right now. Some people are just like, look, I need to make something shake. And I see that whatever it is that you're doing is working, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump on this bandwagon and copy. So that's the reason why they have audacity with it. Like bar for bar, line for line, it is crazy. But as far as how to deal with it, I love what Jay New Orleans put in here, copyright for the copycats. Yeah, getting your registration in order to where if you do have to take legal action, you know, if someone's trying to build up a name or build up a brand off of you, copyrights, what else? Just getting your legal documentation in order to where you have a leg to stand on if you do have to bring somebody to the courts. If you're gonna build up a whole brand and you think you can get away with it because you have a bigger platform than me, I'm gonna eat off of that though. I'm gonna let you build it up. I'm gonna let you, there's actually scripture that talks about the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous. I'm gonna let you do all of that labor and store it up, and I'm gonna take you to court and I'm gonna get my money because that's my intellectual property. So you gotta learn how to fight with strategy. But imitation, you know, is a sign that you're doing something right, because people won't imitate what doesn't have motion or doesn't have potential. It's just, I have heard a lot of people become frustrated because they're like, this person had a bigger platform than me. And it's like people know it, people see it, and they're getting away with it because they have more individuals, more eyes on them. So it's like people don't want to shake that boat or speak up for what's right because this person may be of like a smaller stature, I have like a smaller platform or whatever. But if you want to hit people where it matters, get your legal affairs in order. Like what Jay New Orleans said, get all of that documentation in order. So if you want to get what's rightfully yours, you can do so. You have a leg to stand on it for it. I'm weak. I love bringing people to court. Deflate that ego like a helium balloon with a hole in it. Ooh, okay. Okay, I don't want no problems with you, Jay New Orleans. Because they hate you, they don't want you to win. Yeah, a lot of people just don't want you to win. When you get a chance, read Song of Solomon 7:6. It applies to you. I will. Song of Solomon is a great book. Copycats have no original thought. I think that they could, though. I think they could form something if they took the time to go back to the drawing board. I said this, you'll know the real from the fake as far as the people who can rebuild and reinvent themselves. People who are rebuilding and reinventing, that's why I say stop measuring people off of them semantics. That's what's getting people caught up. People who really build and are really creative, they have back to the drawing board seasons. It's a non-negotiable. because you have to sit with the concept and sit with the thought. Only way that a person can be like this with it is if they're regurgitating other people's talking points. You just don't know it. That's the only way. In order for you to create something, that's why, like, as someone in the literary lane and things like that, I understand that it takes time to build a concept from scratch. You have to think about something. You have to break down different sections. You have to think about titles of each chapter. You have to build upon each chapter. A chapter isn't one page. No AI, by the way. Never had to. But it takes time, going back to the drawing board. But that was dissected in the recent Are You the Blueprint video that I did. How you can gauge who a copycat is versus someone who really has that intellect and that capacity. The person who really has it, the blueprint, has back to the drawing board seasons. It's a non-negotiable. That's the only way that they can come up with the concept, take the thought, put it to life. Anybody who is skipping that creative process is not an original. Even if you haven't identified who their source is. This is why I love my uniqueness, because copying is impossible. They run out of ink to get all of this color. And I also believe that when something comes from the blueprint, there's impact there. Lives are changed. That element where, like, it hits people and they're like, whoa, only blueprints can evoke those kinds of reactions or responses, because it's coming from an authentic source. It's coming from the pain that they experienced when they were creating it. So it's like, it's a different experience. But I don't know, for me as a creative, I'm big on that. I want everything to be felt. I want people to feel it. I want people to resonate with it. One of the things that I love to witness is when people were reviewing the publications that I talk about, and they were like, this took me back to an interaction that I had with this person, or I knew exactly when I read this excerpt or this envious archetype or whatever, I knew exactly in my life who fit this archetype. It takes time for someone to sit with the concept and develop it in a way to where it hits like that. There's no escape in that process. It just isn't. Not if you're really passionate and care about what you do anyway. And I am. So, but I just love creating though. I'm always create. Because it's just second nature for me, and I love the process. Oh, thank you. Is it Rena? Thank you, babes. I appreciate that. Let your boss see you successful. They will pull the rug. Exactly, Gentleman's Corner. Listen, it's never going to fail. Once you get in the hands of a malicious mentor and they see your potential child, they're going to make sure you never gain proper footing. Muses should leave a job ahead of time. Blueprints should leave a job ahead of time. Muses have a little bit more wiggle room. Because muses are, if you guys haven't watched that muse video, please do. Because you're going to hear a breakdown as far as like what makes a person a blueprint versus what makes a person a muse. Can you be both archetypes? Yes, you can. But muses, for those who don't know, a muse is a source of inspiration for a lot of creatives. So like artists, when I'm talking about actual painters, people who actually draw, musicians and things like that. And muse is actually in the name museum. So the example that I gave in that video was when you go to a museum and you're looking at art, there's not actually like a super deep description of a lot of paintings and things like that. You may get like a short little synopsis, and like the name of the artist and stuff like that, but you're not getting a full breakdown, an essay as far as what this particular, picture or painting means. So muses are more so in alignment with that concept. When people first see muses, a lot of the time they evoke either really, really positive responses or negative responses from people. Either people really, really love muses or they really, really hate and dislike muses, because muses are mirrors. Their presentation is a mirror. And when your presentation is a mirror, it can be triggering. That's why a lot of muses are confused. They're like, how is it that all these people are saying they don't like me? I've never spoken to them before. We've never had a conversation. They've never had any interactions with me. We don't know each other. How could they be out here starting lies about me, spreading rumors, trying to triangulate me or separate me from certain people? What is their issue? You as a muse, your presentation alone is a trigger for them. It's enough for them to want to go up against you. So because it's typically tied to like a physical presentation thing with muses, a lot of people underestimate muses' intellectual capacities. I mean, no shade. A great example was when he unmuted himself now though. Daniel, shout out to Daniel. No shade to you, Daniel, but I gotta use you as an example because this is real. Daniel was like, I muted you. I don't really care about what you're talking about. I just want to look at you. But I'm talking about business and marketing principles though. So muses, it's not necessarily going to be, how can I describe it? You're not going to be actively sabotaged in the same way that a blueprint will. Blueprints, people see blueprints, mental and intellectual capacity. So the attacks are completely different versus muses. People don't take you serious, or they want to keep you in like a superficial box. That's actually dissected in the publication in the Lion's Den Navigating Systems of Power. How it's important for you to use these quote unquote superficial traits in moderation so that people can't keep you in a box. But yeah, muse's fight is going to be making sure that people take you seriously and they don't keep you in a superficial box, especially if you know you have other capacities. But blueprints, woo, that sabotage is going to be a different ball game. Because blueprints have potential to build like successful businesses. And you got to think a lot of people's businesses is tied to their livelihood. So if someone has started a business of their own and they're eyeing you and like, you could be a potential competitor. It took me X amount of years to get to this point to where I'm able to somewhat keep my business afloat. But with the potential that you're showing me, and at this phase of your life where you're just now getting started in this industry, or you're just now getting started with this particular sector, you're going to be a problem for me in like the next 2 to 5 years. I can't afford that. And another reason why blueprints are very threatening is because they have that know-how. So they're able to land on their feet because they keep creating things. It's an endless flow of opportunities and solutions. Blueprints' minds are next level. And that's another reason why people will fight really, really hard to like keep blueprints blocked for that reason. Because that's really threatening. It's a very threatening thing to have a blueprint potentially become your competitor in a business sector. A person who knows how to keep up, that knows how to reinvent and stay relevant with the times and things like that. People who could pick up on certain marketing trends, marketing predictions, and they're just on it. That's a very dangerous competitor in the business sector. So that's the reason why blueprints get sabotaged, because they know that. The person on the outside looking in, they know that. They see it. The modern workplace can be a headache. Yeah. Someone said Snapple fact, period. What type of music do you do? I'm not promoting my music. I'm promoting you all's music. That's the goal. I sing in my church choir, but I haven't been in any studio or nothing like that to make music, no. I listen to music, and the irony is I really do love to sing. It's just, I keep telling you guys, I don't know what it is about like performing or whatever. My hats are off to people who can and are willing to. But for me, singing is like my solitude, it's my sanctuary. So I don't know. I don't know if I would ever put myself out there in that capacity. I don't. But I'm here to help y'all though. I'm here to help y'all. When y'all already doing it, because I do love music. I do. Um, I love everything about it. I love the production aspect of it. I love the songwriting elements. That's why I'm not just limited to one genre. I appreciate rap music because of the lyricism. I appreciate really, really beautiful melodies and ballads. There's a lot of rock songs that I love. But for me, rock, the reason why rock music resonates, with the exception of Paramore, I love Paramore through and through. Haley is a phenomenal vocalist. The band was always phenomenal. And I mean, that drummer was drumming like his life depended on it. In Misery Business. I mean, like, crazy work. Love Paramore down. But there was also a lot of beautiful lyrics with the band Paramore. Just so beautiful. Decode, Misery Business. Ain't It Fun was a little bit more upbeat. We love that. Me and my best friend in high school, but so much variation, just so many beautiful elements. And I feel like Paramore was one of the groups, one of the bands that just hit every nail on the hit every nail on the head as far as vocal talent, lyrical talent, and the band. So beautiful. But what are some other things that I enjoy about music? I also like the fact that it brings people together. Music is very universal. Music is powerful. There's a lot of gospel songs that I absolutely love, but for me, like, gospel music takes me to another place. Like, it feels like it's speaking to my situation. So there's like a couple of songs that I'll always listen to keep me grounded. One of them is Order My Steps. My grandmother put me onto that gospel song. Presence of the Lord is Here was a really good praise song. Really enjoyed that one growing up. There's so many gospel songs. Like, I can't. But I listen to a lot of music in some year, and I've always been really passionate about music. It's just, in this capacity, I'm more so interested in uplifting and helping platform artists who are just as passionate, if not more, and making sure that they get the right ears and eyes on them. Because I know that the algorithm, it has nothing to do with talent. It's about marketing strategy. And a lot of people, you have the talent down packed, but you don't have a marketing strategy, and that's why your work isn't being platformed. And unfortunately, and this is just the name of the game, when I was attending information sessions, when I was hearing from people who work in the music industry, that's the reason why I took that brief little hiatus in July. A lot of them were honest about the fact we do gatekeep. We do. Because that's our way of filtering out those who are really serious about this. But my angle is from a completely different, viewpoint, because I'm coming in it as a partner and as a merger. But the people who actually have the positions and the opportunities and stuff like that, they were very honest, and I appreciate that. They were like, we do gatekeep. Because for one, a lot of people legally, in regards to documentation and business and stuff like that, they're not prepared. Their music is great, they're very talented, but we cannot bring you onto a particular project or for a particular opportunity. We can't solidify that if your business affairs are not in order. If you have a song where you are the only person listed on registration, but you had a producer, you had a songwriter, you were just the vocal talent, if all of those things are not in order, we can't bring this project aboard. We can't do it. We would be hit with a lawsuit. That's the business point. And I understand that a lot of musicians are like, I don't know nothing about that, girl. Child, somebody help me. I don't know nothing about the business and the marketing strategy. And that's the reason why I'm bridging that gap, because I understand that. You're the talent. So it makes sense. That's why, like I said before, I don't kiki and laugh about the numbers not numbering, because I know it requires a different strategy. Getting eyes on you is one job. Getting people to actually engage with whatever it is that you're putting out to sell is a completely different job. So yeah. just to give people a heads up, when I was attending those sessions and stuff like that, they were like, yeah, we gatekeep for that reason. It's a lack of organization. And that's actually what will be discussed in the e-course, where I'm giving you guys pointers as far as the access that I was able to, thankfully, that I was able to get, and have conversations with people who are just so phenomenal, so knowledgeable. Ideally, I really want to, I want to expand on partnerships with these people. I'm breaking them down, y'all, so you guys can get direct access to them as well, God willing. You know, the right partnerships and opportunities, they'll let down the gate. But right now they're giving me access, and I'm utilizing that access to, you know, share the knowledge with you guys. So there's actually an e-course that's available, the music marketing e-course, because I was hearing a lot of people say, like, girl, I can't attend the live webinars, but I want this knowledge as a musician. And I was like, you know what? For this particular population, I do need to accommodate, because right now the entertainment sector at large, everyone is like, well, we're trying to find opportunity. Like it's not really a lot. We don't know what's going on right now. It's a change happening, excuse me, but we don't necessarily know how to get our footing. So I was like, let me not leave this particular group high and dry, because it's a lot going on right now. And my heart goes out to y'all, because I love music. I love attending live concerts and festivals. I love that. Like, I just love music down. So my heart is very tender for this particular group. So the e-course is talking about what we discussed in those sessions and giving you guys breakdowns to where you're actually, first and foremost, aligning yourself with a market that has the money to pay you for your music. And you can have 2 followers on Instagram, 1 follower on TikTok, and a pending following request from your mama on YouTube, because your page is still private, because you're too scared to launch it, because no one's been listening to it. You could have all of that going on. The algorithm isn't necessarily working in your favor. But if you get yourself in order and you learn how to market to a particular group, and that's dissected in the e-course, because like I said, they're gatekeeping. But here's the thing about it. With different partners, a lot of people who are in these positions to play your song and to compensate you and stuff like that, no matter what your following account is, they go through different partners because the partners do the mundane tasks for them. So they don't want to deal with the headache of going through thousands of different musicians, and then they find out that 98% of those musicians, business affairs and legal affairs aren't even in order. So it was a waste of time. So they prefer to go through different partners, for example, publishing partners, because the publishing partner is going to get that stuff in order for the musician. So a lot of these people aren't even pulling randomly from like different music. Only time that they'll experience that is if there was someone who really resonated with them and they found them on social media. But for situations where people are compensating you off the rip, and like you're securing thousands of dollars for people to utilize your music or to play your music or whatever, those people aren't doing random, oh, okay, I found this person's da-da-da, because it's too risky and it's a waste of time, especially when you have to fulfill certain obligations by a particular deadline. I can't waste my time for weeks communicating with you and like, yeah, I love your music and I want to work with you in X, Y, and Z, but you don't even have your registration in order. You're not registered to the right groups, to the right organizations. Whole other conversation. A lot of people don't even know, as musicians, you need to be registered to a particular organization. But the publishing company that I'm talking about, Perry Publishing Services, is going to assist you with that, because they're under that organization. And that's the purpose of being strategic when it comes to your music. As a musician, you are your business. But if you need some help getting the logistics in order, partner with the publishing house, because that's where the money is going to. They go to these publishing partners and things like that because they make sure that those business affairs are in order. They are not trying to bring you aboard to a project and then later on get hit with a multi-million-dollar lawsuit because they liked your song and they were under the impression you had your stuff in order, but you didn't. Okay? And now everybody's stuck on stupid, and you can't even get a bang for your buck. You invested all of that time, all of that money into that project, and now that it's time to reap the benefits of your labor, you got to cash it up to a lawsuit because you didn't have legal stuff in order. So I'm very excited to assist musicians in this regard, because the sad part is a lot of people aren't putting y'all up on game. They don't care to, or they're too busy to, all jokes aside. When I was attending those sessions, they were honest. Like, we get hundreds of thousands of musicians submitting their work. And a lot of the time, the musicians that we heard and that we loved, we would have preferred them if they had their business affairs in order. And if we're being honest, we had to partner with musicians who we didn't really like their music like that, but their business affairs were in order, so they were ready. And all of this is dissected in detail in the e-course. So, and I actually have a community post that just now posted a couple minutes ago, where you get a direct link to the website. Actually, no, it's not a couple minutes ago. It was a couple of hours ago. The e-course, I've been marketing that, I think, for a couple of days now. So to figure out a little bit more about the music marketing e-course, you can go on the community tab on my YouTube channel, click on the link in that community post, or you can just go to the perrypublishingservices.com website. You can click on the link in the description box. I put all of that good stuff in the chat. I actually just now posted a short too. I initially posted it as a TikTok, of course. That's typically the way that it works, if it's a shorter form video. But there was an artist, and she was talking about how, it costs money for exposure. A lot of the time when you're seeing people and they're like on certain platforms, they had to pay to be there. And I have someone in my life who actually is on the production side of things, and they receive budgets. Like, people don't understand. It's a business. It's a business to this. You know how people say it's levels to this? There's business to this. And what I appreciated about that artist is she shared, phenomenal vocalist, by the way, but she shared, and a lot of the time, whether the artist is independent or if they're with a particular label, all of this money is being invested and you don't always see a return on that investment. Because I keep telling people this, it's a completely different marketing strategy that's required to bring in attention in comparison to the marketing strategy that's required to convert that attention to sales. That's the gap that I keep trying to convey. You're dope, you're talented, that's not a question. And it's not your fault, it's a psychology thing. Once again, nerd fact, I have a background in psychology, so I understand that there's a completely different consumer psychology required to actually get a consumer to purchase your music or to stream it to the point to where it generates, a decent amount of income for you. So the goal is to teach people how to leverage that attention, because it takes money to make music. There's a saying in business, and it's been ringing true for like decades now. It's just the facts. It takes money to make money. That's the reason why we did the grant writing webinar series last month. In order for you to even start a business, a lot of the time you need access to capital. And a lot of people, because they're working these jobs and people are hoarding the money at the top, and so they're not going to get that much needed capital required to set money aside from obviously like paying other things, their day-to-day stuff, have enough money set aside to where they can adequately start up a business. And that's where grants came in. And, during that webinar, we had an experienced grant writer give a breakdown and give a phenomenal presentation, as well as a Q&A session. And I also was able to answer questions too. Very phenomenal. It was so beautiful seeing everyone there and us, having those open discussions. But that was the purpose of even curating that webinar, was because I understand if you do want to start a business, it does require access to capital. It does. So if you have roadblocks as far as, I have enough to get by, but I don't have enough to set aside money to start up a business, learn how to apply for grants and write a compelling grant proposal to where you can start securing that access to capital. So yeah. But I don't know though, I'm a very solution-oriented person. So once I see problems, I immediately go into fixing it. So right now we're focusing on fixing the musician problem. And I'm really excited about this because this is gonna be for a minute, because I'm passionate. I'm very passionate about music. I've always loved music. I actually didn't speak growing up. My first words were to a song. I was singing a song and people were like, oh my gosh, she can talk, in the back of the car. That's the story that my mother and my father always told me, is they were like, girl, we didn't even know you could talk. We heard you singing a song in the back of the car, and we were like, oh my gosh, she knows English? Yeah, like this music thing, I never played about the music thing. I was actually in a choir when I was younger too, and someone was like, we want her to keep this going. And child, I don't know, music always finds me, so that's why I think I'm really passionate about this too, because whether I'm running from it I don't know, whether I'm running from it or something gets in the way, music always comes back around to find me. But this time around, I'm actually in the driver's seat of it, so I get to actually like live out this passion, and there's not roadblocks there. The more people practice problem solving for smaller things, the easier it becomes for novel things. You know what? I like that. That's very powerful. Internet culture is encouraging people to complain into the void and seek validation for said complaint versus searching for solutions. Ooh, you think so? You think that's the problem? Because I'm like, why would anyone want to keep talking about the same issue? And then once someone is saying, okay, well, I have a solution or an option for you, it's not clicking. But I don't know, my reader community is different. Like I said, we did the grant writing webinar and people were just like, girl, in attendance. But other people, I'm just like, it doesn't make you uncomfortable to experience the same issue over and over again. I get so annoyed with that sometimes I have to check myself. I always laugh about there being an instance professionally where I kept getting called in for these unnecessary meetings. And I remember I told one of the ladies, I said, but we're talking in circles though. Like, I broke character for a minute because I was like, you can't be serious right now. You can't be serious, sir. This is our 8th meeting this week and we on the same topic. Don't call me for nothing. This is why I don't answer your calls and texts now, because you don't ever be talking about nothing. Y'all don't ever be talking about nothing. Always talking. Y'all know I'll start getting mad. Just talking in circles. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. And I love my parents down, but growing up, I didn't like that either. Like my dad is big on like, if something was out of pocket, he's gonna beat the dead horse. He's just gonna keep talking about it over and over again. And my mom is an emotional processor, so she has to talk things out to like process her emotions. And I remember just being younger and like, I don't want to do this though. Like, I love y'all down. I've just always been someone who would find solutions. So sometimes my parents, like, they will be talking about something in passing and I'll like do research. And I'll be like, oh, well, I found this. Or when I talked to this family member and they were like, what made you think to ask them that? And I was like, oh, well, I overheard you. I've always been like that. I can't, like, I just always have been like that. But what I appreciate about my parents is they never scolded me for that. Like, they knew that was just, and I don't know where I get that from. I genuinely don't. I don't, because it would take them by surprise too. Like, why is she so like that? Like, where does that come from? I still to this day don't know, but I just can't. I can't sit with the problem too long and not find a solution. Yes, curiosity and being inquisitive is peak human evolution. My mother uses that exact word. She said, you were just always inquisitive. And she said, sometimes you would get in trouble because we would be like, just because we said so, And I just always had to ask questions because I wanted it to make sense. And if it didn't make sense, I appreciate my mom though. My mom keeps it a band with me now. You know, when you're a child, she's just like, don't worry about it right now. But thank you. I appreciate that. Someone said you have beautiful eyes. Thank you. But my mom, I appreciate her so much now that I'm older. She just keeps it a band with me and be like, a lot of the times, girl, I just didn't know. And I'm like, oh, well, why didn't you just say that? She was like, I was dealing with a lot. I was overstimulated, so I just didn't know. I just said, don't ask me right now because I didn't know the answer. And I was like, oh, okay, understood. And that's the thing about me is like, since I was really young, I could reason with you. And the reason why I would just keep asking the question is because I'm like, why are you hiding it? Like, why don't you just say something? Just a mess. Girl, sometimes I just insert, because I know I have some guys on here too. I just felt like I was just thrown onto this little planet. I don't know. Because my parents they've never been like that. Ever. Like, they're big on talking things out and stuff like that. And I would just always be sitting there like, I don't like this. We could have solved this problem 4 weeks ago. Real, I'm that way too. I am. I'm glad that I have some like-minded people in here. But I really appreciate my parents, though. They never scolded me for that. They would just always say, she's just different in that way. I don't know. Like, we don't even be having any answers for the questions. And that's the reason why, like, I always was building communities and villages, because I was so inquisitive. If my parents were like, we don't know, I would go and ask somebody. Like, an adult or whatever, or like a friend of mine who had an adult in their life who could give me the answer. That's how we were able to, like, merge families, and how it became a big old, melting pot. Is because if my parents were like, girl, we don't know, I'm like, I'll be right back. I have a friend who has a mama or a daddy that know. Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. They're problem repeaters, so I became the antithesis. Well, that's good. That's good. I think the goal is for, each generation to get better. That's the goal. But I don't know what that process felt like. I know a lot of people, when they share that they're kind of like the breaker of, like, certain habits and stuff like that, it's a lot of pressure. I was always at the library learning. I would use the 1800 call, ATT collect, and tell my mom I'm ready on the greeting portion to let her know I was ready. Oh, period. Okay. Make it make sense all the time, please. Yeah, because if it don't, I'm not rocking with it. You got to know your whys. Yeah, because I just... If it ain't making sense, I don't want no parts of it. Because I'm not saying that it's not ever going to make sense, but it just may not make sense right now. So I'll wait until it makes sense, and then we can have a conversation. Ooh, I had all A's, but my behavior comments always said I talk too much or ask too many questions. My teachers used to tell my parents I asked too many questions too. I was quiet growing up, ironically enough. That's why my mom always jokes at me. She's just like, it's so funny how you just get up here and talk to these people. And I'm like, I know, girl, because on my day-to-day, I'm not like this. I talk to, like, my people that I love and that I care about, of course. And I can have casual conversations with random people, but, like, really going on and on, no. But I would ask questions. And if it didn't make sense, I'd be like, but why though? Like, can you tell me a little bit more about that? And sometimes people take that as, like, challenging them, when the whole time you just really want to get to the bottom of it. You're just like, well, what's going on? You're intrigued by it. And so you're asking a little bit more, but people get all defensive and then they feelings and stuff like that. So my parents had to teach me that too. Yeah. Hey, it happens. It's whatever. As my teacher from barber school always said, you got to know the whys. Yeah, and I agree with that. Because why? Why? I don't even think that you should be aligning yourself with anything until you have a clear view of what it is that you're associating yourself with. If people can't make it make sense, if they can't give you a breakdown, if they can't explain why they're doing what they're doing, I think that that's a red flag. Because how are you not able to explain it? What's going on? Oh, I don't really know, or did. Well, why not? Why don't you really know? Curiosity and being inquisitive is peak. Oh, I already read that. Oh no, J New Orleans. Okay, so you set people up. I just have them repeat what they are saying, increments, until they see the error in their logic. Oh my goodness. What about your own masters? Yeah, owning your masters. The master is the recording of a record. So yeah, I heard a lot of people talk about that. Owning your masters. That's a mechanical aspect of it. We'll get into details with that though, for people who are interested in getting their stuff in order as a musician and stuff like that, publishing, all of that. Once you submit your contact information, we'll have that breakdown. It will be very similar to a consultation. And don't worry, it's not gonna be no scolding and throwing tomatoes through the screen if you're just like, I don't even know what that is. Or no, I didn't start that process or whatever. That's why the Perry Publishing Services resource is there. I rarely see people solving problems. It's almost always voicing it repeatedly. But then again, I do live near New Orleans. What's wrong with New Orleans? Uh-oh, what do you mean? You live near New Orleans? Are you saying that's a New Orleans thing? I've heard a lot of good things about New Orleans. I haven't visited, but I actually have a lot of roots there. My mom has a lot of ties based in New Orleans. So, and that's so crazy that I never got the chance to go. But yeah, I've heard beautiful things about New Orleans. I have. Someone said yes, lip combo, period. The talent always gets the short end of the stick, but they don't have to. They don't have to. It's just they're lacking the marketing and the business knowledge. That's the only thing that's missing. What about publishing? What do you mean, Zier? You said, what about publishing? Tell me a little bit more. Like you're asking about a particular publishing service. Just click on perrypublishingservices.com. Click on the links in my description and the community tab, and whatever you need is listed there. Here's the thing though. I think the talent, like what I just now said, these people who are in these positions and stuff like that, they have an ear for talent. They have a preference to reach out to talented artists and musicians. But a lot of the times they're not selected for certain opportunities because the business affairs aren't in order. And if the business affairs aren't in order, it becomes a liability to the person who's trying to take you on or who wants to utilize your work. Okay? What I do understand is a lot of musicians aren't taught this though. They're just creating music and they're putting their music out there and stuff like that. And sometimes your music does get into the ear of someone who can put you in position and it is a fit. They do really like your work. But if you can't answer follow-up questions as far as, do you have this in order? Are you registered here? And things like that. They're going to be like, okay, well, I'm on a time crunch. I have to have this particular thing fulfilled by the end of this month. And since you're not ready, and you're not going to be able to fulfill those things by the end of this month. Because a lot of these registrations and stuff like that, it takes time to even process. And that's the reason why sometimes talented people will get the short end of the stick seemingly. But it's not because of the talent, it's because certain things aren't in order. Another aspect, tying it back to the brand and marketing psychology series that we recently launched on the platform for the reader community. A lot of people, the talent is there. And it's not necessarily a registration issue. And this is more so in alignment with people who don't fit the independent route. But that's the reason why we're gonna be expanding on like different elements and different services and things like that. Because you have the backing, you do. You have the eyes on you and you have the talent, but you don't have a brand. It's so layered. I love these conversations so bad. Oh my gosh, I love these conversations so bad because I get to put my pattern recognition skills to use. I get to be super analytical. I love this. I love it so bad. But the issue is you don't have a brand. And I always say this when people ask me, and I'm like, immediately I know that someone isn't where they need to be. And this isn't just limited to the music space. This is just the pool, the community that I'm pouring into right now. And I'm going to continue doing it because it's going to be a part of my purpose. Yeah, I already got that understanding. But it can also apply to content creation and influencers. So I'm pulling from music because that's what I'm working on right now. But these principles, these same principles and strategies, excuse me, apply for a person who's interested in breaking out in the content creation, influencer, and social media space. You do not have a brand. The talent is there. Some people may even get, a little bit of exposure. But when they start trying to reach out for partnerships or building certain things, it's not sticking because people don't know what your brand is. I'm the librarian lady. And it's in the name, it's in the username. All in alignment. Miss Read the Room, READ, reading from different books, talking about publishing, talking about publications. There's a brand there. And as long as there is brand cohesion, it's easy for people to follow. It makes sense. And it's easier to draw in your community. I have a reader community, people who are also passionate about reading. But I have people who are learning about music publishing. I talk about publishing, publications. So they may not necessarily be interested in literary works, but they're musicians and they need assistance with publishing. You see? So the issue is brand building. What is your brand? And a lot of people are honest, I don't know what my brand is. And this is honestly big for jack of all trades. Whole other conversation. I might have to make a separate archetype video for the jack of all trades. I made a couple videos referencing some of my favorite people who fit the jack of all trades archetype. Selena Quintanilla is one of them. But I don't think I've ever did like a breakdown like I recently did with the blueprint video, the muse video. I think I need to make a jack of all trades one. Actually, do I have something to write that down? I'm gonna just have to play this back. But people who are jacks of all trades, the talent is there, the potential is there. But because you're so good at so many different things, it's hard for you to kind of find your brand identity. Because you're like, well, I'm good at this and I'm good at that. And that's why partnering with someone who's like, okay, well, let's curate your image to where people can get a vibe of what it is that you bring to the table. What's the foundation? You do not have to be put into a box to develop your brand identity. Some of our beloved musicians and some of the greatest figures, the most influential figures, they weren't put in a box. They were constantly experimenting and having different eras and looks and all of that. But their brand identity was never compromised. And I talk about some of those people in the Brand and Music Marketing Psychology series that I just now launched on YouTube. I keep getting so nerdy on this live, and I'm so sorry about that, you guys. Thank you, poetry message. No, I don't take that as an offense. Thank you. Would love to hear you sing sometime, you guys. Singing is so sacred to me. I don't know if you will ever. I don't know. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I love music and singing so much. It's kind of like I low-key want to keep it to myself. I do. But I support you guys, though. I don't know. Someone would have to trick me into doing it. If I were to like put my vocals or something to use and people were to actually hear it, someone would have to trick me or something. Like, like if you're singing karaoke or something and someone cuts the mic and you're like, oh, shoot. It would have to be that kind of situation for people to actually hear my voice. I'm not in that space. Singing is so sacred to me, you guys. That's why my hat goes off to musicians, performers and stuff like that. Like I really have a soft spot for them because it's hard to put especially when music is your passion. Music is so vulnerable and like your vocal talents, it's so vulnerable and like the place that music can take you to when you're singing lyrics from a very difficult season of your life. The entire thing is just so transparent and just raw and real and when you put it out there to the world and they're like, boo, you're like, oh my gosh. So yeah, that's why I always say when I hear people kind of laugh and scoff at how you only bring in these numbers and you got these people viewing you, I'm like, trust me, it's a different strategy required for it. And it's not always connected to the person lacks talent or whatever. It can be a lack of brand identity. It can be a lack of brand consistency. There have been so many cases where I witnessed somebody, but if you don't have the right team around you, that can also make or break your situation. If they're so focused on doing what's hot right now, but they don't see that you bring something different to the table that can actually blow you up. I've seen this time and time again. Someone did have great branding strategy in a particular season, but someone from their team got in their ear and was like, well, this is hot right now, so maybe let's jump on this bandwagon and let's explore this. Let's see how you would do with this. And then they lose momentum. Because you don't have people in your team who really believe in you. And they're going to keep pushing you to build whatever it is that you're building. It doesn't matter how long that it takes in order for it to get the traction that you're desiring. But as long as you're getting traction, when people can see that brand cohesion, when people can see where it is that you're going, it's not about getting there fast. It's not about being a rabbit in the race. It's not about that. Not if you care about longevity and sustainability anyways, and actually converting that attention to consumer engagement. So yeah, like I just keep saying over and over again, I'm very sensitive to this particular community because people don't understand the layers. But my goal is to help, and everybody is included in that. Yes, of course. We listen to a lot of Hezekiah Walker for choir rehearsal. We had a couple Hezekiah Walker songs that we had to rehearse for church. Exactly, Jay New Orleans. Ain't It Fun is so good. But Paramore has real hits though. Have you guys heard Haley Williams cover Hallelujah? Haley is just, I haven't heard a Haley that couldn't sing yet. Halle Bailey, phenomenal vocalist. Haley Williams, just, they got that on lock. And such power, and they both have like that little small like frame, and they have such powerful voices that come out of them you would never expect it. And I just now saw that she recently did like a classical Disney, whoever is a part of her team, they got that. What I see with her is just keep her classic. Keep her classical. That vocal powerhouse, there's no need to experiment with that kind of vocal richness and talent. But Haley Williams is another phenomenal vocalist. Yeah. She's dope. Let me catch up on this comment. Let me see. Someone said, oh, wow, you're so intelligent on the business side, sis. I appreciate that. Paramore is amazing, phenomenal, from the lyricism to the vocal talent to the band. Like when I tell you they have everything on lock, just phenomenal. Someone said number one. Oh, I didn't even know someone was in here trolling. See how important it is to ignore people because they just went away. That's why I avoid environments heavily populated by idiots. Jay New Orleans. I don't have music, just videos. Well, what kind of videos? Is it in alignment with music? Because that's the launch that we're going to be doing. Thank you to whoever just liked the live, by the way. And thank you to everyone who liked the live. I appreciate it, you guys. A lot of people don't have forward thinking or a negative mindset to consider that. People tend to attack what they do not possess, and when someone is higher up, they're always afraid of being dethroned. Very true. Very true. And there's a lot of aspects of it too. I don't really want to get into that though. A lot of people, they become territorial because they experience so many attacks to get there. And they don't realize that they're kind of operating off of paranoia a little bit. Like these are the people who constantly are looking for threats and competing and sabotaging other people. And those people are actually looking up to you. They're not your So you have to be balanced. And that's the reason why, like, when I was talking about jealousy and envy, when I first started my platform, I was always letting people know the goal isn't for me to tell you all to be jaded. That's not, there are people out there. You have your community out there. Instead, become familiar with these strategies and with these archetypes so you can protect yourself from the wrong people and make room for the right people. And that's another reason why when I talk to people about business and I'm telling them in the business sector and you're saying, well, I don't want to be used and things like that. That's not the way that business works though. Like you have to be well-rounded. I'll put it like that. When we have these kinds of discussions, because there's a lot of nuance in business in particular, you're going to be used. That's the purpose of the barter. If I can't utilize your services for my business or for what it is that I'm building, you're not going to be reached out to, period. I don't see any purpose in it. So being used isn't necessarily a bad thing in business. You just got to make sure that you're having an even exchange. You're benefiting from them just as much as they're benefiting from you. That's the baseline. And I always tell people, if you hear someone talking about business or whatever, and they're not talking about team building and partnerships, I don't know. Because that's what comes with the territory. If you want to expand anyway. Because a sensible person knows that they can't do it all. They know their niche, they know their capacity levels, they know their competencies. That's why I was reaching out to people saying, I will pay you for consultations. I paid the person who conducted the grant writing webinar. And when I talk about opportunities and things like that, like I don't have an interest in shortchanging anybody. My interest, because that's the way that I'm running my business and building my ecosystem, is to put people on. I don't need to, I don't know. You know, anybody who does good business understands that you don't got to take advantage of the next person. They also understand that you pay people what they're worth. You want their expertise, you want that knowledge, you pay for that consultation. That's why I get to sit up here and talk about it. Muses must monetize, blueprints must build, start your own business and things like that, because I have experience on both ends. I also pay people for their consultations. I encourage people to take my money when they're saying, oh no, I've been providing this service for a Fortune 500 company for 10 years. And I said, and you shouldn't have been. You shouldn't be. So let me ask you one more time, how much to book a consultation with you? I don't even have a consultation in place. Well, now you officially do. People got to stop getting caught up with them titles and stuff like that. That's why certain people are staying at the top at the expense of people who actually have the know-how. When you get someone in your corner and you come across someone who is opening your eyes and telling you, how much does it cost for me to pay you for your consultation? Because I understand how the ecosystem really should work. You should be compensated for your consultation. I don't even have that in order. I don't even know what a consultation is. Well, okay, well, let me give you a brief breakdown. Now you know what it is. How much per hour? Well, to start, I'll do X, Y, and Z. I have money set aside for you. What's your availability? I want to learn from you, and I want you to become a partner. I want you to become my business partner. You know how many people on their resume, on their LinkedIn's, if I really wanted to drop names on here, and you see the people that they worked for and the companies and the corporations and stuff like that they worked for, and when you have conversations with them, they will sit up and tell you off the record, yeah, like I had that job for 10, 15 years, and the pay isn't really that competitive, but it's stable, like I've been here for a while, but every time I did like a one-on-one project or a presentation or whatever for my consultations and how I was able to do this and create this initiative with the company, I wasn't even getting compensated for that. I said, and do you not know that that should have been paid for, honey? You should have been compensated for that. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, because you got so caught up on the title, huh? That's how they get you. Oh, this person from this company and this corporation and stuff like that. Yeah, but they're not giving you the funds though. A lot of y'all are overlooking certain people because they don't have a big name behind them, but they're willing to pay you for what you're worth. Jesus. Y'all better break free from the shackles of illusions and golden handcuffs. Do you hear me? I had to tell one lady, I said, start a business for this consultation that you're doing. Start it up. And once it's up and running, come back around and contact me and I'll pay you for your services to help musicians and help artists. Because the people that you put on and that you've helped and that you rub shoulders with, there is no way that you should not have an excelling business with how much you've done and how much you've contributed to these corporations and things like that. Your initiative that you started 5 years ago helped this company generate millions of dollars, and you telling me you are still living off of $25 an hour on a part-time track. Pardon? But they treat me so well though, I'm sure. They love you, girl, because you don't know your worth. And they never gave me any issues and they keep me on the job. I'm sure they love you down. They love you to pieces. And you're going to keep doing them presentations for free. What I want people to understand when it comes to this business game, the algorithm is beautiful. So grateful because I get to connect and speak with thousands of you all. On a business tip though, the algorithm got to make sense. Do you hear what I'm saying? The algorithm has to make sense. With the example that I just now gave, the attention of getting an applause and a pat on your back and people saying, oh my gosh, we want you to do this presentation, da-da-da-da-da. You can't let that cloud your judgment from the fact that, wait a minute, I need to be compensated for this though. You're getting so caught up in the praise, you're not realizing that you need to be compensated for your expertise. There's actually a job title, formally, if I really want to take it there, for the kind of work and the kind of consultations that you provide, that's bringing in $90,000 to $100,000 a year. And that's working under another person's company. And you've been providing these consultations for free. And they've been shortchanging you with a $25 hour part-time track. But you think you're getting somewhere. You think you're getting a bang for your buck because it's a big name or a big corporation or whatever. And they're telling you, oh my gosh, you do such great work, and they have you doing all this work and you're excited to be a part, but you don't realize you're being shortchanged if you don't take off them golden handcuffs. They look shiny, don't it? But you're imprisoned. And this is your emancipation day. Take them cuffs off and get serious. And I'm saying that with love. I gotta be strict around here. Too many people are being led astray. Lost in the sauce. That's what I'm saying. Just lost. I was looking at, and I kept trying to signal to them like, how much, like if Johnny had 2 apples, baby, how much is your consultations? Oh, I don't have one. And the person who got the handcuffs on them sitting there in the background like this. And they do great work and they're great here. And I'm like, you don't even realize that this person got a whole chain. Got a whole chain on you, and they pulling you back in, and you're operating under false loyalty. This person is taking advantage of you. That is not where you need to be buddying up. And I'm telling you in front of them on purpose, how much are your consultations? Oh, I don't provide consultations. I've been doing this presentation for this company for free. Ma'am, I'm gonna say this one more time. I'm trying to get you to freedom. How much are your consultations, honey? Oh, no. How much are your consultations? The person who got the handcuffs on her, squirming in their seat. And see, people like me, if the person isn't up on game, if they don't see it, and that's completely fine. Some people see it, some people don't. We get persecuted. Because the person was like, nope, we got to get this person up out of here. They're airing out the fact that we're not paying people what they need to be paid. And so when we put ourselves on the line and we tell y'all the real, I know exactly what I'm doing. Why do you think I asked that question in front of them? How much are your consultations? Because even if you don't get it right now, and you will in due time, Because this is eventually, this ship is going to sink, trust me. Because you're not going to be able to keep sustaining yourself by being shortchanged. It's eventually the rubber is going to meet the road. Even if you don't get it right now, they get it right now. And they see that I know exactly what they're doing. And it's not okay. And some people are appointed to be watchmen over certain people. And that's a conversation for my believers right now. There are some places that you are called to. And when you tell the truth, you will be reprimanded for it. But there was a reason why you were sent there. You were sent there to set certain captives free. Some people didn't even know they were in captivity until you spoke up and you said the thing. And sometimes we feel like, I should have did more. No, in that particular place, you weren't supposed to do more because you couldn't. That place is too corrupt. It's spiritually corrupted. You weren't going to get far in that place. So if you were appointed there, it was to wake other individuals. It was to wake like-minded people who needed someone to assist them and to guide them. They needed you there to plant that seed. So things will start becoming more clear for them. Even if it was as simple as, like what I said, when you gave that young person a nugget, you need to start a business and start doing consultations. Because what you're utilizing right now is a gold mine. And you should be bringing in way more. Word to Harriet Tubman. Exactly, Jay New Orleans. And you know what's so powerful? And a quote that often gets swept under the rug as far as Harriet Tubman is she said, I would have freed more people if they knew they were slaves. Yeah. I'm going to repeat that one more time. I would have freed more people if they knew they were slaves. You can't help some people because they don't even know that they're in captivity. So that's a huge part of my purpose. It doesn't seem like that's what's going on, but that's exactly what's going on. I know exactly what I'm called to do. And a lot of you guys, it's unacceptable, the amount of work and the amount of effort that you've been putting in and pouring into other people, and you're not getting paid for what you're worth. So yeah. No, I didn't get a lip job. I would have educated more people if they knew they were. Jay New Orleans, please, not tonight. But you know what? You know what? That's applicable too. I respect that. Someone said you're so gorgeous and great quote. No, that's Harriet Tubman. Go look that up. When Harriet Tubman said, I would have freed more people if they knew they were slaves. And trust me, you guys, I am so grateful to God that the algorithm can algorithm the way that it does. And we're able to connect. This is beautiful. This is so beautiful, and I don't take it for granted at all. But there's layers to it. There are so many people who don't realize, like, if you get so caught up in the praise and the applause of things. Like for me, I create solutions. There's no room for me to start, bigging up and acting like, all that kind of foolishness, competing with other people for no reason because I want to be the dun dada of this or whatever. Like, that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not going to sit up here and take jabs at certain people and be like in a one-sided competition because I want to be the dun dada of this YouTube or TikTok or whatever thing. No, I'm here to create solutions to people's problems and opportunities. It's a little bit deeper for me. You know what I mean? So I'm super grateful for the algorithm because of that. because I wouldn't be able to reach people with problems that need solutions if it wasn't for the algorithm. However, there are other cases where people get so caught up in the approval and the applause and things like that that they don't realize they're being shortchanged. And that was the reason why I gave that example, where I kept telling the young woman, very beautiful, by the way, and a very beautiful spirit, but the beautiful spirit almost gave off like they capitalize on that too. You know how some people, they have that youthful kind of energy to where people view it as I could run game on them. She had that about her. And the reason why I kept asking her, how much are your consultations? How much are your consultations? Oh no, well, this person said that I could just do it for free. No. And if I really want to break it down, there are certain people, because she fits certain demographic statuses. If I really want to go there with it, there are certain people you cannot afford to provide free consultations. Because someone who has more pull than you and has more resources and connections than you, they're going to go to your free consultation and free information session, soak up all that knowledge, and build a Fortune 500 company off of your mental capacity. And you won't see a dime of that. But because you got excited, because of the name, the person who was reaching out to you, or the company that was reaching out to you, you didn't think that far ahead. And that they know that they bank on that. That's why they do that. They know exactly who to get under their umbrella. That was the whole reason why we had several discussions about malicious mentors. Malicious mentors don't even pick subpar mentees. The purpose of a malicious mentor is based off an archetype in the publication Green Eyes, by the way. The malicious mentor, the reason why they go out of their way to align themselves with mentees that they know they view as threatening is because they're seeking out who can be a potential competitor to them. So what's the best way to stop a competitor from getting ahead of you or becoming a competitor to you? Take them under your wing. And there are certain organizations and corporations and businesses that operate like a malicious mentor. But because they give you an employee of the month badge with a pizza party, this is how dirty they do you. And I'm trying to tell people, I'm putting them up on game. Because they give you an employee of the month badge with a pizza party and some Coca-Cola. And some, yeah, this person is phenomenal. They've been doing great work, X, Y, and Z. They've been running the company. They've been doing so much great work for the company for 10 years, 15 years, X, Y, and Z, child. Then people are running game on you and laughing. Unacceptable. Crazy. What is it and how, please? What are you referring to? Oh, publishing? Is that what you're referring to? You're so pretty, OMG. Thank you. How beautiful. How are you feeling? Looking for you. I'm in Texas. Shout out to Texas. I'm in California. Hi, Wiser with Age. I love that username. Where the money at then? Exactly. Where is it then? Lost in the sauce. I think I already read that, and it's true. The algo has to rhythm. I agree. It better be feeling like a tango. It's got to dance. You got to dance with it. Thank you so much. Amen. OMG, you're gorgeous. Thank you. First time here. Welcome. No, it's about personal development, psychology, and financial literacy. I agree. You know, all of those components are very important. It's very layered, and that's why my heart goes out to them, because it's not easy to occupy all of those things. And then on top of that, to be a talent, you have to wear so many different hats. And to be honest, that's why, and this also ties to business. This is why I said musicians have to view themselves, the musician, as the business. I know you may not think to view it in that capacity because you're like, I don't have a formal, corporation or whatever, but your music is your business. And that's why a lot of musicians, you have to be very particular when you vet certain consultants and certain partners. Because as the talent, it's going to be difficult for you to wear all of those different hats. I said this in a couple weeks ago in a live that I did, and I shared, to me, it makes perfect sense. why some musicians don't have certain things in order, because how could you really, if you gotta shoot this video, prepare for this performance, prepare for this tour, go to the studio, create a whole body of work. There's so many things that a musical talent has to do. Their schedule is too bogged down for them to oversee and make sure, did this person get this registration order? So once again, musicians, you are your business, and every business that wishes to expand needs a team. It's all gonna be connected. That's why I say anyone who is saying that, oh, well, I'm a business owner and things like that, and they're saying that they're a one-man show and stuff like that, a lot of people just aren't gonna take you serious, because it's impossible. Even if you're able to do a little bit of everything, your time, and if efficacy, doing things the right way, is important to you, you know that it's not gonna be wise for you to do everything yourself. If I have believers on here, if you don't believe me, you really take everything to the word, pray about it. But in scripture, it even talks about how important it is to have a multitude of counsel, multiple people that you can seek for counsel for certain things, because you can't do it yourself. In fact, at one point, the story of Moses, where at one point he was doing all of these things and leading all of this, and it took God sending someone to tell him, what you're doing is not good. You're not going to last. There's no way for you to do all of this. And that person taught Moses how to delegate tasks accordingly, and to develop a team. If you want sustainability when it comes to your business and work, you need a team, period. Now, you will have to vet your team, though. You will. So when people say, well, I don't really trust in all of that, I think that there's actually it's healthy to be apprehensive. Vet people before you bring them aboard to your team. They need to have your best interest. They don't need to be viewing you as competition. They need to be self-assured, okay? Look, do you want to be the talent, or do you want to be a part of my team? What's going on? Because every time I come to you to do something, you'll act like you're going to do something. And then once I start making strides, you want to act like you want to do the same thing. When I started out and I partnered with you to help me write songs, you said that you was just a songwriter. Now that we in the studio, you saying you want to get on the background vocals. Which one is it? So vet your people. I'm not against that at all. I rock with that. So when people say that, well, I'm apprehensive and that's the reason why I don't really have a team and stuff like that, I get that and I respect that. But you will need a team, though, if you want to expand. You just got to vet them. Oops, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm trying to put the little charger in. Hold on, let me lift this up a little bit more. The camera may look a little wonky because I'm trying to put the cord in. Oopsies. Did I get it? Okay, I got it. There we go. Okay. Sorry, you guys. Had to fix that. Hello, how are you doing? I'm doing well. Hi, Oliver. Someone said preach, exactly. Hey, you were so right. I came into a job, streamlined their processes, and all of a sudden they started acting funny. Had a malicious mentor. I'm telling you. There are some people, they have revolving door positions. And y'all don't know this. That's why you get let go of after 6 months, 9 months. Because they're pocketing that money. The higher ups are pocketing that money. That's why that position is always, it has a high turnover rate. That's intentional. They're pocketing those extra funds. But they'll bring you aboard for a couple of months to utilize your experience and your expertise to generate money for the time being, and then they're going to give you the boot. And if you're just going to keep experiencing that, I feel like you might as well take your expertise and at least start a business, even if it's on a minor scale. Consultations. What are you good at? What can you consult people with on a minor scale? People make work their identity. You know what? I didn't think about it like that, Jay New Orleans. I never thought about it like that. People make work their identity, so when you criticize the job, they take it as a personal critique. Okay, I didn't think about it in that way, because I have heard some people, like, I don't know, I think my perspective on it was, in a music capacity, it made sense why people would get like defensive or whatever, because it takes so much out of them to create a project, and they're under a lot of pressure. They're probably sleep deprived because they've been touring and they're traveling, all of that crazy stuff. But maybe some of it could be that maybe sometimes you have to compartmentalize. Even though your purpose, I do believe your purpose is a part of your identity. I believe it's a component. But when we're breaking down just the practical elements and things like that, you don't have to take it personal. If you want to expand and things like that, it's not that deep. So if someone's telling you you need to expand, you need a team, you've been doing great. I remember I told someone this, I feel like I said this multiple times in 2 different consultations with 2 different people this year. Oopsies. But I said it with love though. One person was receptive to it and they've been soaring ever since. I said, you've done enough by yourself. You did a great job too, but where you want to go, you have to expand. You need a team. And she was like, you're right. And she was like, I think my biggest issue is just I don't have a reliable team right now. I said, well, let's figure out how to work with what you got for the time being. And then we're going to have to look into some other people to fulfill those positions or to replace certain people. And she said, you're right. And she did that. And she's been soaring ever since. The other person, I kept telling them, you keep saying you have these problems and you're overwhelmed because you like the gratification of saying you get to do everything yourself. Ooh, ooh, ooh. There's no room for ego when it comes to business accelerations. You can't be egotistical. That's why I keep saying if anyone's really talking about growing a business and expanding a business and all they're saying is me, and I do everything myself, their business is not going to expand. I hate to tell you that. And it's not me being pessimistic, I'm being realistic. If you want more of one thing, it's going to require more of another thing. If you want your business to expand, you're going to need a team because you need more expertise. You need more counsel. A lot of that be ego because they like the appearance of getting to say, well, I do everything myself in X, Y, Z. Okay, that's cute, but that business is going to stay in the exact same place. Another thing, and this is where a lot of, unfortunately, bigger corporations get themselves into a hole. Not wanting to pay people. Ooh. Y'all don't want to pay them funyuns. Y'all don't want to pay them funds. And listen, if there's no money, you can't have funyun. And I'm saying if there's no money, you can't have fun, your business isn't going to prosper. It's not going to be funny. It's not going to be good for you. So unfortunately, a lot of bigger corporations and organizations, they battle with this, wanting to pocket and be greedy and not properly disperse to their employees. That's why you'll lose a top tier employee because you were being greedy. You didn't want to pay them what they were worth, but as long as their expertise and their networks are generating millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars for your business that you weren't bringing in without them, you better pay them what they're worth. If you can afford it, allot that into your budget because that person is too valuable for you to lose. Some businesses and organizations are operating from ego when it comes to hoarding money. You want to pocket that money. That's why you put that job posting out there acting like you want people to fulfill the position, but you don't really want somebody to stay in that position long term because you want to pocket it. And that's why your business, it looks like it's doing all right, and then you end up thousands of dollars to millions of dollars in the hole by the end of the year because you're not prioritizing what matters. You need that valuable player on your team to keep generating money for your business, but you don't want to pay them what they're worth. So they got to find another job that's willing to do so. And then once that happens, now everybody start crying. You find out that person is looking for a new position and you start ruining and sabotaging their references. Okay, well, if you're going to do that, you better pay them what they worth then. Because the math ain't math and they got a life too. Everything isn't about what you got going on in your preferences. They have a life too. Make sure you're taking care of your employees. If you want them to do top tier work, take care of them. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I was listening in on these meetings and I was like, child, I gotta go. Y'all not even serious. Bye. Call me when you're ready. Some people, you gotta tell them that. Working on voting day pays $200 out here. Okay. Some people get burned and don't trust enough to relinquish control. Okay. I can go on and on. There are many opportunities. Many people only see what's missing. Pay the people. And many are also mentally wounded and living a 100% life in lower power mode, or excuse me, low power mode. So many would benefit from therapy but frown upon it. Okay. I don't know though, because a lot of us have, in the business sector in particular, I saw a phenomenal video where a woman said a lot of people's apprehension is, how does she word it? But she was giving an example and saying that when you get into the business sector, when you're witnessing people in business and things like that, you're getting more no's than you're getting yeses. So a lot of people, when we're having these discussions and things like that, they're speaking from spaces of having gone through those mental wounds as well. So it really all boils down to, do you really want it or not? Are you really serious about it or not? Because people are laying the play out. They're laying the opportunities out for you. Do you really want it though? And I don't even think that it's a matter of like going and sitting down and talking about what you've been through and stuff like that, because a lot of people are doing that. The issue is they're not taking action though. They've been talking. That's what I said earlier. They've been talking and talking in circles, but when people are coming to them with a solution, they're not doing anything about it. I think the real issue is learned helplessness. And you mentioned that earlier, Jay New Orleans. It's a teaching of like becoming complacent with staying stuck. Thank you for sharing that, Dion. When I observe people, many of them are actively displaying coping mechanisms. Yeah. I appreciate that, Dion. I do. Keeping me on point with the scriptures. Like, you know what, let's take it back to the basics. I like that. I like that. I really do. Like, let's just keep it. If people want to challenge it, if people want to question it, let's go back to the source. I like that. But I think a lot of it is just learned helplessness. Because like I said, I was looking at that lady like, read the room, boo. So beautiful, and such a beautiful spirit at that. So beautiful, and just such a light to her. And I kept saying the same thing over and over and over again. I was like, how much are your consultations? How much are your consultations? Oh, no, I provide this free. How much are your consultations? The person who brought her aboard, exactly, RTDZ. Thank you. That's the problem. And people don't know that they're in it. Thank you. I'm looking at her like this, and it's almost like the little, you know, the, where people are hypnotizing you, with he in the corner hypnotizing her. You know that scene from Aladdin where Jafar was like trying to hypnotize Jasmine or whatever? What was the clip where he was trying to, who was he trying to hypnotize in that scene? It was like that. The person who was taking advantage of her services and her knowledge was in the background looking at her like this. Like, you better not listen to this person who's trying to set you free. Oh my gosh. You better not. Oh, thank you, Jay New Orleans. Thank you. You are so sweet, and you always tune in. So I really appreciate it. Thank you, Jay New Orleans. What is this person even talking about? I'm weak. Okay, well, no problem. I love your mindset. I appreciate that. Thank you. You need a mod. I got rid of him. Rico sweet. Shout out to Brazil. Yeah, I was looking at her like, man, stop listening to him. And that, like, you have to be careful with false loyalty too. And a lot of, I get it because I'm someone who's really big on loyalty, but I don't believe in being foolish with your loyalty though. Like, you don't need to be locked in with someone who's taking advantage of you just for the sake of time. Like, oh, well, I've known this person for X amount of time. No, loyalty, there's other requirements for loyalty. And the time that you've known one another isn't always a determining factor. Some people have been in your life for years and they've been ruining it from start to finish. It wasn't until you broke free from them and you met one person in 1 year and your life took a turn for the better. So be careful with that toxic loyalty. I just bless her heart, bless her heart. And I was like, I just pray that she comes. For one, I pray that she follows through with starting up her business. And two, I pray that she comes back around and we reconnect because I see her potential. And she's so knowledgeable. I'm like, I ideally, and I reached out to her separately. And the person who hired her took over it. And the questions that I was asking her directly, the person who hired her and they're working under their company took over the whole thing. And I said, and this is the problem right here. I'm trying to set her free. And she letting the person take reign. And I said, Lord Jesus. Right when I saw that, because I reached out to her separately. And the person who got her in captivity took over the whole thing and created a whole movement. And I said, this is what I was trying to encourage you to do for yourself so that you could start a business and get paid what you're worth. It completely went over her head. I said, my God. I'm praying for her though. I really am, because I would love to do a partnership with her and to tell people and to platform her, because you all could benefit from her too. We'll see though. We'll see. Let me catch up on these comments. No, I don't know any words in Brazilian Portuguese. I don't know what this means. I don't know what that means. You have enlightening content. It's a pleasure. It's so hard to watch most of the stuff on my homepage. Well, what's on your homepage? What happened? Right now, I feel like it's just a melting pot, because, you know, YouTube has put out like new policies or whatever. Some people are concerned about it or whatever. And sometimes that's why you'll see a dip in your views. Like if they change certain policies and things like that, it's just the way that the algorithm works. So I see a lot of people come up here and they're just like, what's going on? My views aren't the same. I'm like, oh, honey. Don't worry, don't be scared. It's when they implement new policies or they put something like a new element or whatever into the platform, it changes up the algorithm a little bit, but it's nothing to be afraid of. Like, you'll just let everything catch up. It's all right. But, you know, learning a little bit more about the way that the algorithm and stuff like that works, you gain a better understanding of these things over time. But that could be a reason why your homepage may look a little wonky right now, because it's been some changes on the YouTube platform. Everything good tonight? Everything is great. Everything is great. Shout out to Brazil. Are you all biz? How you let your hair down? Oh, are you all business? How do I let my hair down? I'm a quality time kind of person. I'm not super like crazy when it comes to like adventures and stuff like that. I'm not into that. Like, I'm not that person. Like, you know, doing something crazy or whatever to decompress. That's not really me. I'm very laid back. So I spend quality time. That's a way for me to decompress. As far as myself, I do something artsy. I'll journal. Oh my gosh, something that I did earlier this year that I absolutely love is Art Week. So we went to like a museum. It was so beautiful. We did a sip and paint. What else? What are some other things that I really enjoy? to decompress. I'll go and get like a mani-pedi. I think that that's a way for me to decompress. Sometimes, you guys, I just catch up on rest. It's that simple. I was just telling a loved one of mine this too. And I was like, you need to start scheduling in your rest days. Yeah. And I saw a TikTok of a woman and she said, this is your daily reminder to schedule in your designated like decompress days, because burnout isn't going to get you anywhere. And I also think that that's indicative of someone who's serious about sustainability and longevity. When you already factor in like, I need days to decompress, I need days to recharge, because there's no way for me to run a business long term if eventually I'm going to crash because I'm not well. So sometimes it's just really simple. I'll catch up on rest. I'll have a day where I don't do anything. I don't run errands, I don't create, I don't work, nothing. I just relax. So keeping it simple, especially if you are kind of like a creative person, so you always get ideas and stuff like that. I literally have to force myself to sit still. Ironically enough, I went to, when I was going to get my nails and feet done, one of the service providers that I go to, she was talking to me about something and she said, oh, you're going to get rest? She said, I feel like you always find something to do though. That's why I tell you guys this all the time. Just because I'm not on here showing you all the things that I do, I'm always doing something. I'm always creating something. It's just I may not always document it or talk about it. But yeah, one of my service providers even had to put that into perspective for me. And I was like, oh my God, girl, you're so right. I said, but this time around, I'm gonna be serious about it. I'm gonna really do I'm gonna do a chill day. And she was like, okay, girl. But God has been really good to me in that regard though, because I really do, I don't know how, but I come across the right people. But you know what's so funny is just a couple years ago that was blocked. So make sure, like, and you have people who are appointed to you and who will love you and keep you on track and things like that, but you have to make room for them. And I think that that's another way that you're able to let your hair down, you know, when you're all business and you're all this, is your environment too. Who are you around? Are you around people that even give you the opportunity to decompress, who love you enough and care about you enough to tell you, slow down? You know what I mean? Slow down. Slow down. And who will allow you to do so. If someone keeps adding problems to you and getting in the way and making things harder for you, you need to let them go. Because you won't know peace or rest as long as they're in your sphere. But yeah, let me go ahead and simplify that. I'm sorry. I got to yapping. Some ways that I decompress, some like actual activities, journaling, anything art related. I love a sip and paint. Sorry, some really good wine and a canvas and paint. I can't even say it hates to see me coming. It loves to see me coming because it's mutual. But the beach, how did I forget that? Wow. How do I let my hair down? Oh, but when you say let your hair down, are you saying decompress or are you saying have fun? Because I'm giving you examples to decompress. Are you saying have fun? Are you saying have fun? I gave you my decompress examples. Oh, you said bored. Okay, so yeah, okay, you're talking about have fun. Okay, whatever. Whoop-de-doo, whoop-de-doo. I prioritize decompressing and relaxing, so whatever. But some things to have fun. I really love music, so concerts. I love concerts. I love festivals. And I seem boring to you guys because I'm the librarian lady, but I'm actually not though. I'm very funny. And I don't know what it is about me, but like I just will collect random friends, especially, no, I'm not gonna say that. I'm from Sacramento, California. But yeah, I'm actually really funny. And like, I'll bring in random people. Like, I'm the person where, child, by the end of the night, that person that was over there and like we started having a conversation and stuff like that, we're gonna be acting like we friends. Like, I'm really cool though. And how can I describe it? Someone called me the bridge when I gave them an example about when I was younger and like how I brought like my friends' parents and then my grandmother together. We didn't even know that they were like neighbors until like I went out of my way to walk to her house and be like, is my friend here? And from that moment on, like we became a whole community. That's the way that I really am. Like, I don't hoard resources. I don't hoard partnerships. Once I'm in your corner, I'm always gonna put you on. That's why that's why I get so annoyed when I come across people who like act funny in that way. When I was in college, I could not stand that. You know, the kind of people who like they want access to your friends, but they gatekeep your friend. I hated that kind of weird stuff. Cause I was like, we all could have built by now if you weren't acting so weird and awkward. Literally, like, what are you doing? I don't know, for me, like if I'm locked in with you, if I view you as a business partner, if I view you as a friend, we're all gonna be connected. Like, what? What are you guys saying? No. Oh no. No, 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 no. Mm-mm. Not the way that I be advocating for women and the stuff that I went through as a woman and stuff like that. We're not even finna do that. Okay? Not for the pain that I feel on a day-to-day basis. We're not doing that. Don't do that. Not over here. Sometimes the people around us only have time with us, but there are people who are similar to us that will love us deeper. Yeah, like your soul tribe. Yeah, it's very true. That's why I believe that the goal should always be to expand your community. I gave an example in my last slide where I shared, or was it a video that I did? But I talked about a homegirl. It might have been a video. It was a homegirl that I had met in middle school. And on the outside looking in, we did not seem like we would be so connected. That was even all the way up until now, if I'm gonna be honest, that was the only connection that I had all the way up until this point, still to this day, where I can honestly say I encountered a kindred spirit. I encountered a soulmate. That friend of mine was my only encounter thus far where I was like, this is a soulmate of mine. We look completely different. I gave an example of like yin and yang. She looks like Kim Kardashian. I look the way that I look. On the outside looking in, you would never think that we would resonate and we would be so spiritually compatible the way that we are. Two completely different backgrounds, two completely different belief systems. Everything about us was so different, but we were so spiritually connected. We would pick up on something. We would call one another when something was off. And when we first met, we were kids in middle school, and there was like that deep soul connection and spiritual connection. I just, to this day, I haven't experienced anything like it. And I knew for a fact, I said, oh wow, that was a kindred spirit of mine. She's a part of my soul tribe. And I actually had a dream about her like about three or 4 years ago. I don't want to get emotional. Oh my God. You guys know I hate that. Oh my God. Don't make me do that, you guys. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. I'm trying to like fan the tears. Don't do that. Oh my God. But I had a dream of her, and we're gonna be all right. I'll put it like that. She's gonna be all right. And her heart is going to take her places. Oh my goodness, can you guys believe this? I cannot believe that. Oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional. Stop. Okay, but yeah, that was one of the first encounters that I had thus far where like, I was like, oh wow, you really do have, like, God will send you your kindred people and like your soul tribe and stuff like that. Oh my God, I cannot believe I'm really getting emotional talking about her. But yeah, it was so beautiful to encounter, and I'm very grateful for it. What's up, Asher? Let me get off of that, girl. I started getting emotional and I can't. Like, what? Please. Recommend attending. Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with that. My dear, you are very beautiful. Thank you. What's the topic about? I just got in, child. It's just you know, see me cry and get emotional and everything, Timothy. Wow. It's really a check-in. It's a check-in tonight. Just chill vibes. But Thursdays will be for musicians, where we will start utilizing, you know, a part of the live to listen to people's music and review it and stuff like that in real time, just to give people a promotional platform. So I'm kind of like soft launching that. Someone said, really? That's a very interesting question. Are men afraid of you? I don't know. That's really none of my business. I don't know. I never cared to think about that. But on, like, for real, on a basis, like my foundation, I'm a cool person. I have gotten some people, because like my resting phase, maybe it might give that, but that's not necessarily gender exclusive. Like, that's gender inclusive. I heard some people say, I didn't even think that we would be friends because I thought you were kind of like me. Like, when I first saw you, I was like, what? Because I'm more reserved and like I don't talk much and stuff like that. But when I do open up to you, or like we do get a conversation going, it takes people by surprise that I'm actually not like rude, or I'm not mean, but most importantly, that I'm really funny. Yeah, like, people think that I'm boring, but I'm not. That's the thing. I told you guys this earlier in the live. Like, I had a loved one reach out to me and they tried to set me up. They were like asking me all these details and stuff. And I told them the truth about like what had happened and stuff like that and what I said. And then they took that information back to that person. But they didn't know, like, I'm not a messy person. Like, when I tell you something, it's because it really happened. I'm not finna sit up here and give you a bunch of shoulda, coulda, wouldas of what I would have said or what I would have didn't know. I really said that. Anything that I feel about a particular person, I said it to their face. And the person went back, my loved one went back and they told everyone else, and everyone laughed at them. And they got so mad. They laughed at them and said, she did say that. But when she said that, though, she was telling the truth. I couldn't even get mad at her. And then they came back to me and they're like, well, that's a double standard. If it was me, everyone would have made me out to be an enemy and da-da-da. I said, but you're not me, though. Like, you're not me. You're not me. Sorry. I don't know. Maybe work on your delivery. I don't know. You're not me, though. They got so mad that it didn't. And I had a homegirl too, like the other day we were chopping it up and she was telling me something. Child, she was cutting up. And she said something about a girl who had made her upset when she went out. And I said, is that what really happened, or do you feel that way about her? And she got super weak. And mind you, a lot of stuff that I be saying is low-key risky. I don't know. I think people just like, I don't know, y'all. I don't know, because a lot of stuff that I be saying do be a little risky, but people don't take it as like me being messy or me being mean, because I genuinely am not trying to be. Like, that's not my intention, and I feel like people know that. That's that's why it resonates well. And I know, like, sometimes people get up here and be like, why is it that this person gets away with X, Y, Z and this person they don't, and da-da-da. What is the energy behind it? You think that you're being nickel slick, but people can tell you're being condescending and messy when you say certain things. You're passive aggressive, and people don't respect that, and that's why they call you out about it. Versus the person who, when they're telling you something, they're telling you it out of love or because they're looking out for you. That's the reason why they're receptive to it. I remember I even had a situation like that with, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna say that. But someone got mad at me because they kept bigging that person on and egging them on. And I told them the truth. I said, you better not do that. I said, you better not. If you do that, you're going to end up in a worse situation. And then the person who was sitting there looking at me like, you don't know what you're talking about, they got egg in their face because the person was like, you know what, you're right. And they were so mad. And that's why you have to be careful, because some people, don't be a casualty of war when it comes to your life for real, because some people are egging you on and cheering you on out of spite to the next person who's telling you the truth out of love. That's why you got to get that in check. I'm not exempt from that. I gave you guys several story times about how I had one homegirl who will always check me. And I would tell her every single time, thank you. I never got defensive with her, because when she would check me, it would be out of love, and I knew that. There was even a situation where I told someone close to me what this person had said, like the advice that they gave me, and they said, oh, this person is just being negative and da-da-da. I said, but actually she's not though. She told me what she needed to, that she was being honest. And she helped me a lot with that. And see, that's what's gonna mess some people up. Yep, that person, both of them, it was two different people. They both got egg in their face, because they try to like make it out to be something that it wasn't. And I was like, I'm not being messy though when I tell people certain things. Like I love them, and I love them enough to tell them don't walk off that cliff, because I want you to still be okay. I want you to be all right. Somebody says somebody with class and humble at the same time. That's my kind of people. I like that. That's a good vetting system. About your publishing service, what about it? What about publishing? I comment on a short tap in. Okay, I appreciate it. I appreciate the engagements. I do. And you guys rocking with me for as long as you do. I want you on my YouTube roster. I do podcasts and many more stuff. I'm a sub to you. Oh, welcome to the reader community. I appreciate the subscription. I commented on a short tap in. Oh, I got you. Okay, I'll review my child. I had to piece it together. Take one. Okay, I got you. Once I finish up for tonight, I'll check in with you, and I'll redirect you to how we can get things in motion for business purposes. Shout out to Chicago. Yeah, I got you. I'm sorry, it took me a little minute. You know, I'm reading multiple comments at once. I mean, is the publishing service an overall lesson or just one song? Oh, for publishing? No, it's not one song. There's an artist and repertoire section. So if you want long-term consultations and long-term partnerships, we have that as an option. Just submit your contact information and some of the goals that you want to hit. So if, for example, you want to work on solidifying your brand, all of that, put that in the comment section along with your contact info. But the page that it's going to direct you to on the artist and repertoire section of the website, you're already going to get that prompt. So just fill it out accordingly. But it can be long term. As far as a song, for the music promotion, it is one song. It's one song. You have to secure one song, but it doesn't have to be just one and done. If you want to come back and promote another one, then you can. So you can go on the website and submit your information so we can reach out to you and we can go through your preferences. A real date? The last time I was on a real date, like what month are we in? A couple weeks ago? June. Yeah. I've been working on this, you guys. I've been having a lot of stuff going on. But I actually enjoy dates. I don't know why, like there's a propaganda. That is so whack to me. Like talking against dinner dates and stuff like that. Like, girl, please. I am very appreciative of dinner dates. I love when people have like the interior of a restaurant. Like, I love all of that, when the lighting and stuff. I think I talked about this on an older live. I shared that you could tell, like, when you go into certain restaurants, it just gives that, the lighting of it, everything. So, I don't know. I'm not with that. I don't like when people talk against the whole dinner date thing. Because even when you travel and stuff like that, y'all not gonna try different restaurants when you go. Like, please be so for real. Y'all just gonna be hungry the whole trip. Be so for real. Like, please, 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 please. No, don't go on dinner dates. Like, please be so for real right now. Boo, throwing tomatoes. Get you a good drink in, laugh, people watch, talk to different people, especially depending on where you go. You better go on that dinner date. Yeah, enjoy yourself. I always have a good time. Every time I go to dinner or whatever, the people look out for me. I went for my birthday, and they were so sweet. The restaurant workers, I had a server. He was so sweet the whole night. He had everyone from the back. He said, "It's your birthday?" I said, "Yes, it's my birthday." He had everyone come from the back and sing me happy birthday, and he gave me a complimentary little thing for it. Was just so cute and sweet. It really was. And I already was going to obviously get treated for my birthday for that dinner date, but he went out of his way and was like, and he was just so sweet the whole night. So I don't know. I'm not falling for that propaganda. Child, please, you sound crazy. Don't do no dinner dates. Why not though? Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? That should be the nightcap. Okay, you want to do other activities and stuff like that. Great, we get that. But you mean to tell me your stomach is just gonna be growling for the whole day? You're not thinking about eating. You don't want to go to a good restaurant, look at the scenery, get videos for memory's sake, picture's sake. Like, I just, please, we got to be so for real. We do. Like, I'm so, please. I'm not going to choose. They're both living legends in their own right. Absolutely. Just wanted to ask because I'm highly interested, but I was wondering, was the service just tips and tricks or actual motion with publishing? Tips and tricks? What do you mean actual motion with publishing? With that service, we're actually getting your work and registering it. What are you talking? No, I don't do talking around here, baby. We're gonna lock in with you and ask you, okay, where are you at and things like that. You better have a good breakdown though as far as what you want, because we're gonna ask you those questions. We're gonna ask you what your marketing budget is. We're gonna ask you what songs you want to register and all of that. And if you ain't got that organized, then get on it, okay? And I'm very excited though, because we already had a lot of people reach out, and we did our follow-ups right away within that 24-hour window, as I always do. And we started to tell them a little bit more about the prompts, start brainstorming some of their goals and things like that. So I'm very excited. Someone said, good night, I subscribed. Well, you left with a bang, baby. Welcome to the reader community. Oh, I got you, Penny Mac. My deepest apologies. Okay, I got a follow-up. Yes. So the music publication service is actual help with the publication, or like tips and tricks. So when it comes to music publishing, it's more so your composition. So if you wrote it on like a memo on your phone or whatever, or you physically wrote it or whatever, it's helping you actually register it. So taking whatever it is that you got, even if we have to reformat it or whatever, you know, according to whatever we got to do to get you properly registered. We're going to work with what you got. But yeah, that's us actually getting your stuff registered, not tips and tricks of like, oh, we'll just do, no, we're going to assist you with that, baby. So yeah, I don't talk in circles around here. We get things done. When it comes to my business, I'll yap with you guys though on live because I enjoy it, and it's a way for me to connect with you all. So don't worry, the yapping isn't gonna stop, at least not now. But when it comes to business though, and you must have just came into the live because I gave a whole speech on that about how I actually sometimes get in trouble because I'm so solution oriented. And I don't like the concept of talking in circles. So yeah, with services, even with me talking about music promotion, actually, thank you, Penny Mac, because I might need to clarify. The music promotion service, that's not me giving you tips and tricks. It's you securing your spot, and we reach out to you and we contact you and you pick a song you want us to play on the platform so that you can gain more exposure. Yeah, it's not me, you go on the website and then you click something and then it's telling you, well, do this and do that, and then you hope something works. No. With the e-course, we're giving you a tangible breakdown. The music marketing e-course, we're giving you a tangible breakdown on a particular sector that is not talked about, but where musicians can get compensation even if they don't have a following. And I had to put that one in the e-course because with this particular industry, it is gatekept for musicians, this particular lane. That was why I was attending sessions and doing those consultations and things like that, because I even had to go through a little bit of a gatekeeping process to get connected with people in this particular lane of the music industry. And they said that there's a funnel system, so they're only going to select a few group of people. So I had to take the knowledge that they dispersed to me and then obviously curate it in a way to where you guys can get access to it as well. And plus it's a presentation that I curated. Initially I was going to do the webinar, but I had a lot of musicians tell me I can't make those days for the webinar, and I respect that. Like, I learned a lot about how intense the music industry is as far as opportunity and getting that exposure. So I felt compelled to accommodate for this particular group. If you can't make the webinar, no worries. That particular e-course is going to be there. And it's not, seasonal. It's not just me having 2 or 3 designated days and then I pull it. No, that's there. And all of the knowledge that I gained from those information sessions and things like that, I compiled it and made it available for you guys. And giving you the game to cut through the red tape. Because sometimes people are gatekeeping because they want to kind of hoard those opportunities and that knowledge for themselves. Because if they're not a big artist themselves, and that's the thing that makes it different, is that's why when people keep asking me, can you sing for me and stuff like that, I'm like, not right now. I'm sorry, you guys, my nose is running a little bit. It's because I had the AC on earlier. But that's when people keep asking me, like, well, can you sing for us and things like that? I'm like, not right now. That's not my focus. Right now, I feel like I'm called to help people who have been doing music and have been putting their vocal talents and stuff like that out there for some time, and they need that exposure. And I do have the platform. I have thousands of people. I don't know, right now I just feel called to that. And I feel like it makes me, if I'm gonna be honest, I feel like it makes me a better business partner because I'm not emotionally connected to it. Like I said, I sing for fun. I sing because I love the feeling of it. Like I said, singing to me is a sanctuary. It's not my job. So I don't have all of those moving components. I'm not tied to it, which makes me a better business partner for musicians. That's just the name of the game. That's the fact of the matter. So when you come to me with your problems, I'm not going to have the attitude of, well, I went through it. I'm not connected in that way. Not in this juncture of my life. So I'm more passionate about making sure that you have good business and you do good business and you get connected to the right people who can help you build your brand. So and on top of that, I'm a business partner where I don't have to take advantage of anybody under my umbrella. It's not a bunch of weird stuff in-house going on and I gotta cover up for this and da-da-da. I don't gotta do none of that. You get your service, I provide that service, I connect you with the team members that you wanna get connected to, we're going about our way. With all due respect. Because that's what's messing a lot of people up. Is you acting like I gave that example earlier. How you gonna tell the person, oh yeah, I'm just gonna write your song, They bring you to the studio to write the song, and you still trying to do music on the side, and now you're telling them, but I want to get on the background vocals though. But that's not what you paid to do though. You're not here to do that. Write the song and go on about your way. You don't need to be on the mic. One mic. We got a vocal talent. Please. Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. Please. Please. But that's when them egos get involved, child. And that's why I keep telling people, just let me sing in my little sanctuary and stuff like that. Trust me, right now, while I'm getting up on this business tip, it's in your best interest. Okay? But I'm gonna be honest though, I'm just a lover of the art and creativity. So, and I always tell people this, even though I would get slack about this, when I first started dissecting the dangers of competition and telling people never engage in one-sided competition. A lot of people were just like, no, you gotta compete, you gotta get in the game. I said, but you really don't though. You really don't. You can compete with past versions of yourself, but competing with another person, why would you ever do that? You're gonna sing yourself into a frenzy and you're gonna lose. You're gonna drive yourself insane trying to compete with the next person. Don't lead with that. A lot of people get caught up in that competing and stuff like that because they haven't figured out their purpose. When you figure out your purpose, the passion is going to come from the love of you just being able to do it. Competition is arbitrary. And you know what? And I will say this. There are certain elements that are competitive. Like, for example, business. You're going to have some competitors as far as like the industry or whatever, and you want to stand out in that market. But directly competing with the next person, I will never encourage anyone to do that. Only time that's acceptable is if the nature of the work that you do requires competition. So if you do sports, if you're a woman and you play basketball, if you're a man and you play basketball, football, softball, whatever, that's applicable. But competing with the next person, I don't know about all that. I've never bought into that. And if you got somebody who has a competitive spirit, I'll put it like that, if they are naturally competitive and they're trying to act like they're going to supervise you or mentor you or lead you, but they're very competitive, good luck. This is why I keep telling people, watch out for that. There's certain buzzwords that trigger. It could be a trigger for envy. It's a slippery slope. I'm very competitive. Okay. And I'm sure you got a track record of people that you sabotage because of that same spirit, that competitive spirit. Guarantee you. So the message be in the music. No pun intended. The message really is in the music though. People will tell you who they are. Open your ears. It absolutely is. I think envy and competition is a big drive for others, but depends how they express it. It is a big drive for others, and typically they express it through sabotage or imitation. That's why I say I don't think that those are healthy factors to be motivated. I just don't. It doesn't end well. There's always some kind of bloodshed. Someone is pushed out of a position that they really should have stayed in. They're pushed out of an environment because of envy. And people ganged up on them and tag team against them because they felt like they were too good at a particular job, or they were showing that they were inadequate. A lot of people aren't supported the way that they could be supported because they're under a malicious mentor. So it's layered. When I talk to people about these things, you said the person was competitive. They said that they're competitive. They said you have to compete. I'm exaggerating it and putting emphasis on it so they can open their eyes and open their ears. Yeah, they said that I had to compete more and I had to be more competitive and things like that. And I said, and you said you went under their leadership? Yeah, because I thought that they were going to help me get out. I said, oh, Lord, you're not going to see no success for the next 5 years. How long is your contract? 7 years. Well, you ain't going to move not one bit in the next 7 years, baby. All of those things were warnings. Them telling you I'm a competitive person and you got to, all of those things were warnings, honey. That's not, you don't go to a person who battles with feelings of competitiveness and comparison, for counsel, for leadership, or for guidance. You don't ever do that, because they're signaling to you, if they're willing to take you under their wing right now, start gaining traction. Everything's gonna hit the fan. When you start hearing those words, comparison, competition, all of that, that person is telling you, I will only tolerate you as long as you stay at a particular level. Once you start bubbling up, it's going to be a problem for you. You're going to go from being supported to being sabotaged. You should start wearing purple lip liner. I used to do a dark purple lip liner in high school with like a pink lipstick, and I would put like a pink shimmery gloss on top of it. I used to, but now I just keep it kind of like a nude lip combo. I do a darker liner, and then I do, nude, and this is like a nude shimmer on top gloss. Ooh, it's okay. I think envy and competition is, I already read that. It's okay to feel envy as long as you don't use it to sabotage others, but use it as a motivation for yourself, though. I think a lot of people conflate. Research envy. Research the definition of envy. I'm a believer, so for my believers, you should already know that envy and coveting what other people have is a no-go. It's always going to lead to you sabotaging someone, because you can't get your desires and your personal stuff in order, because you're externalizing. You're taking an internal issue which is rooted in lack or inadequacy, and you're externalizing it onto the next person. And a lot of people don't even know, like, you've sabotaged great opportunities and connections because of your envy. So no, I don't think that envy is a motivating factor. I just don't. I think it sabotages. Always think about the cost. Count the cost. You being envious and you sabotaging this person or backstabbing this person, competing with this person because you want that car, you want that opportunity, you want that job. Was it worth you losing a solid member on your team, though? Count the cost. That sounds crazy. You sabotaged a connection and a relationship with someone who really had your best interest at heart because you wanted a material possession. That if you would have figured out what your natural knack is, you would have got that anyway in due time. But you got so caught up in competing with the next person and wanting to take shortcuts, you sabotage a connection, that could have lasted you a lifetime. And someone who really would have been in your corner. So no, I don't encourage people to lead with envy and competition. Because when it comes to this thing called life, it's not just about material success. What are your partnerships looking like? What are your connections, your relationships looking like? That's why when I told people, when you get into business deals and all of that, look for those buzzwords. The deal isn't enough. Some people, like I said before, with the woman who I was asking her, do you have a business yet? Do you do consultations? Some people will give you golden handcuffs. They'll give you a little bit of something, a little bit of short change to keep you behind for the next 10, 15 years of your life and stifle your potential. So the initial offer that they're presenting to you is not enough. Are they a healthy business partner? All of those things need to be taken into consideration. And that's why I said what I said earlier. As far as I don't have a vested interest in taking advantage of a musician or anybody that I do business with. Pay attention. I helped with grant writing in the past, but that's not my trade. So it doesn't hurt me to pay a grant writer their worth per hour to provide a grant writing webinar to assist other people. And people keep trying to act like this isn't a real thing that needs to be talked about. And that's why the connections and all of that, it'd be a mess. It'd be all kinds of drama. It'd be all kinds of sabotage. You can't get any peace because of this. When I did a video talking about how ideally, yes, you would want a friend, for example, and you to occupy the same lane. In reality, it's going to get messy. Eventually, some person is going to want to compete and compare, or one person is going to feel inadequate, and like the next person's success is them trying to one-up them. This is why I say, ideally, have friendships and connections that are complementary. This is completely different from if you find a friendship because you guys were doing the same thing. But even if you're occupying the same profession, for example, 9 times out of 10, you aren't doing the same thing in the same exact way. People who have the desire to do things in the same exact way as you do is a red flag. It's a storm waiting to brew. But everyone kept telling me, no, that's not the way that it goes in maturity. I said, as much as you trying to make this out to be kumbaya, it's not none of that. It's not. That's a red flag. If this person keeps shedding their identity to be a miniature version of you, that is enmeshment, and that person is in competition with you. That's a problem. That is not a friend, that is a fan. And when this person starts sabotaging you behind your back and creating gossip about you out of bitterness because they want to be where you are but they can't attain it yet, please do not come over to the general public crying and hooting and hollering, because we told you this was going to happen. In the reader community, we have these conversations. We have in these videos and stuff. We told you, and you told us, shut up. We being immature. When that's really not the case, we're saying that mature people don't care to enmesh themselves in what another person has going on. They're content in their own lane. They're content doing their own thing. But you told us, shut up, though. And now that person is on social media airing your business out. Because you didn't find it weird that they wanted to be enmeshed in every facet and every second of your life. They were so consumed with who you were and what you had going on, they never developed their own identity. So now there's a level of resentment and entitlement there. I invested all of my attention into what you have going on, so now I should be entitled to ruin your life when I don't get what I want. You created that monster. Because you were sitting up here saying, well, no, your friends should be able to do the same thing as you at the same time and all this. Okay. That's codependency that you're describing. You have a codependent, not a companion. But you're telling us to grow up. Thank you. Pastor said, God bless you, beautiful queen. Thank you. God bless you too. My first time on here. Welcome, Marquez. Thank you. I could count on Dion. Thank you, Dion. Thank you. Galatians 5:26. Let us not become egotistical, stirring up competition with one another, envying one another. So like I said, like, if you a believer, please, and anyone is trying to tell you envy is healthy. Envy is, no, it's not. You're going to end up sabotaging a meaningful connection. I can guarantee you. You're going to ruin that person's life who was sent to be an ally to you. And we don't want to hear you crying when you calling us and telling us, can you get us your ex-lover, your ex-romantic partner, because you couldn't get your feelings of envy in control. You calling everybody, ruining everyone's sleep schedule, whining on the phone for hours on end. Well, could you tell them to respond to my text? No, you're blocked on everything because you wanted to be in competition with that person. You're blocked and we're not helping you. You made that mess. No, we're not cleaning it up. You ruined it. You ruined it. Pray for another connection. That one's done. You ruined that person's life because you couldn't get your emotions in check. You were immature. You shouldn't be envying someone who has been sent to be a blessing to you and to help you. That's not healthy or normal. No. I agree, Dion. Both envy and jealousy are no bueno. Now, in scripture, it does refer to jealousy through like the the lens of possessiveness. So like, you know, obviously there's certain things where it refers to like a jealous romantic partner, for example, right? Like don't step out on the partnership and things like that. So a lot of people do use jealousy interchangeably. Like, okay, well, I'm jealous in my relationships. That is different. But in the context of like, you know, a family member, a friend, a romantic partner, in a sense of not necessarily being like protective of what's yours, but like you are jealous of their potential. You're jealous of the way that they bring in attention from other people. That's not normal. That's not normal. So you have to be careful with envy and jealousy. But jealousy it's a broader context though. But envy, once a person reaches a full-blown state of envy, there is no, oh, we could use that for, that's why it was broken down in sequences and different stages. If you don't get it in check, and once it becomes full-blown envy, you are destined to sabotage a meaningful connection. You know how many people who I've seen sabotage someone who put them in position for certain opportunities? Who was helping them get by with certain things, sabotage them because they were envious of the fact that they were in a position to do so. So there's a phrase that goes, so they cut off their nose and they spite their face. You're envious of the only person who can tolerate you and who has enough love for you to put you in position and look out for you. A lot of people don't realize envy is also a form of self-sabotage. You sabotage the only person in your corner who is willing to put you in position. But you cool with everybody else who isn't extending you that helping hand. The very person who goes out of their way to tell you happy birthday and get you gifts and stuff like that, you treat them the worst. But the people who you got in your corner, they purposely don't reach out to you, don't acknowledge you or nothing. But you're sabotaging the person who was sent to be a blessing to you. The reason why they have everything that they have is because they were sent to be a blessing to you and you sabotaged it. You got them booted up out of that job. You got them kicked out of that space. You blocked them from that opportunity. Nobody else in that environment had the hard posture to put you on, but you set them up though. Not realizing that that was the source that was connected to your blessing. Just foolishness. So no, if you have any kind of sense to you, do not let envy be your motivating factor for nothing. You're going to sabotage everything. Someone said, hi, this seems like an interesting channel. Yeah, it is interesting because I covered so many different things. 1 Corinthians 13:4, love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous. Exactly. It does not brag, does not get puffed up. Exactly. And that's another thing I told y'all, thank you, Dion, for holding me accountable biblically so we can put to test whatever it is that I'm saying. I told you guys, if you have a business partner, a mentor, someone who you're seeking for counsel and advice and stuff like that, that should be a red flag that they're so focused on them. They don't have any hard posture, any consideration to be like, well, what is it that the people that I'm saying that I'm helping, what is it that they have going on? What have they achieved? What have they not achieved? What do I need to assist them with? They're making it all about themselves. When they start bragging and getting puffed up and they injecting and inserting themselves, you know that that person ain't gonna help you with nothing. You're gonna be in that same position for the next 20 years. And they're showing you it. I don't know if I want to talk about that though. That might be a little touchy. But a mentor, a real mentor, has to be willing to pass the torch. And that's where a lot of people are going wrong, is you don't realize it's a red flag that this person is still holding on to the torch. That shouldn't be the case. A person who is really ready to be a mentor can't be having their hands grasped on the torch. Even on my YouTube platform, if people have been rocking with me for a longer amount of time, and even me going on my community tab and reposting different people's content and stuff like that, pay attention to stuff like that. Because the person, don't worry, you don't have to take my word for it. People's actions will show. People's actions will line up with exactly where their heart posture is. If you are really a mentor, if you're really a leader, if you're really interested in providing sound counsel to people for their success and for their best interest, there's going to be a track record of you being willing to pass the torch. Anyone who is still holding on and like they like this with that torch, they're going to set you up for failure. They're a malicious mentor. They got you up under their wing to dictate and control how far you go. A real mentor is indifferent. In fact, if I'm going to be honest with you guys, get connected with people who are content. They had their run. Or they're not interested in that. Like there are some people, I reposted a TikTok. Oh, this is actually alignment. I reposted a TikTok today, and it was of this man teaching a child playing the drums. You guys know I'm big on instruments. I'm big on music. And I'm telling you, the kid is chewing. Like he's doing it. Like, and you have the person who's coaching him on the sidelines, and you could tell by his face like he's really proud, and he's like cheering him on. And in the little notes, you know how now on TikTok you can put on the notes after you repost a TikTok, like something, you could put a little message or whatever. And in that note, I said, I love seeing prodigies be taught by people who are passionate about mentoring people. Like, it's a night and day difference. It's a night and day difference. And you can tell it. You could tell those people who have been appointed and called to, ooh, I don't want to get spiritual. This is like a whole other conversation. I'm not going to go there because I could be talking here all night as far as the spiritual component to it. But some people have a mentor mantle. So when they see their prodigy, when they see their student out there doing their thing, they become cheerful. Other people are aligning themselves with mentor and leadership positions, but they don't have the heart of one. That's why when people get under their wing, they don't get far. You have to have a heart to be a mentor. You have to have a heart for it. You know how many people go and study? My musicians, go and study how many individuals behind the scenes who you would never know, who you would never think, put someone on and never said anything about it. And you're like, dang, how I never would have thought that. Or what made this person go out of their way to plug this person? Because this person has a heart posture to put underdogs on. They have a real ear for talent. They don't even need credit for it. They don't care about the credit. That's how much they love what they do, and that's how much they believe in that person's potential. They don't need the credit for it. And you have to have a particular heart posture to even do that, to have a desire to do that. I don't need credit for putting you on. I want to see you win. I see that you have this, you have it in you. And they'll put your name in the ear of somebody, and some people, they don't even know who put them on. That's a heart of a mentor. That's a heart of a true leader. Someone who is really like, I did my run. I did my thing, and I'm willing to pass the torch. Or I really have a mantle for mentoring, leading people, connecting people with who they need to be connected to so that they can thrive. You have to have a heart posture for that. I said this in, I think it was an older video, but I mentioned, oh, you know what's so interesting? Ooh. Okay. Thank you for the donation. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. But what was I saying? In an older video, I talked about this, and I said some individuals They don't realize the reason why they haven't got into certain rooms and certain spaces is because of their heart posture. You have to have a heart posture, and I'm speaking to believers again. There's a certain heart posture that's required for you to get access to certain spaces. So when you're looking at someone and you're like, how did they get there? How did they get into that room? You have to have a particular heart posture for certain things. You have to have and like I said, I'm speaking to believers here, because God isn't going to appoint you to a mantle if you're going to ruin his children. If you have been appointed to a mantle and you're ruining people's progress and success, God didn't put you there. Ooh, I'm gonna say it. You put yourself there. God didn't put you there. That's why who God appoints, he develops first. That's why it takes a little bit longer. That's why it's not fast stream, because he's building character development. No position that I ever got was an easy, it wasn't none of that. It's always been a preparation process every single time. So no, I can't cry about the fact that it might have took me a little bit longer, because I know that it's not just about me. And God isn't going to appoint you to something if you're not going to steward the people who have been assigned to you with love and with consideration. There are people, even when I'm talking about what I'm talking about, and that passion and stuff like that, and how when I got put into that room and I called that person out and I said, how much are your consultations? You know, another thing that's assigned to a mentor's mantle, protection. You're selfish. You're not going to protect anybody. So God isn't going to put you in position. You don't care enough about people to protect them. And in order for you to really have a love and heart for someone and protect their potential, you got to be willing to put yourself on the line. Meaning that people in here are going to be uncomfortable. And I'm okay with that, as long as this person gets their just due, because they deserve that. It's more than access and applauses and praise and approval that's assigned to a mentorship mantle. A true mentor puts themselves on the line. A true mentor is going to advocate. Had a whole live that I did talking about the power of advocacy, by the way. So a mentor who isn't doing any of that, they weren't appointed by God. I'm going to tell you that much. They put themselves in that position. And that's why everybody who comes up under their leadership crashes down. They don't succeed. They don't reach their potential. But they doing great, though, the mentor, at the expense of the people that they stepping on. Okay. All right. Let me catch up on these comments. I'm sorry. Someone said this is a nice stream. Oh, did someone else give me a donation? Oh, yes, you did. I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Grover. I appreciate that. Someone said, get them super chats up. You guys have been very, very generous. Thank you all so much. You guys know I love you to pieces, my reader community. To everyone who's new here, you're loved too. Welcome. This is actually a chill night. So that's why the conversation is kind of like just flowing. There's not really like a super strict and designated topic of discussion. We're just having an open dialogue. But, oh, you're pretty. Thank you, Miguel. I appreciate that. You know what's so funny? I was listening to Miguel, the artist, the other day. I've always loved him as an artist. And for people who don't know his backstory, like, he was once on a show and he was in a group. And I just always think about this. Like, every time I think of Miguel, I laugh, because how diabolical. And that group, like, when they heard him singing stuff, and he really came in there like laid back and everything, and the group was hating on him so bad. They were like, I don't know, we just feel like he do too much. You know, he's trying too hard. It's too many runs and stuff like that. And I said, imagine if Miguel would have listened to them and like stopped singing. Like, you're saying he's doing too much, but you're like doing the least though. Like, you're barely doing the least. Like, imagine the audacity. Miguel is doing too. That's why sometimes you just can't listen to people. Like, they're crazy. Just hating, just hating. See, that's why you gotta discern. You gotta discern. Discernment is important. Imagine if Miguel listened to them. He's doing too many runs and did it. Okay, but you're flat though. Your vocals are flat. He has to overcompensate. He was too prideful? Really? You know what? I didn't get that from the clips that I seen. I think, I don't know. I didn't get that. I think he came in there like really ready to work and sing, and they were like, there's too many notes and da-da-da. And I'm just like, well, you know what? Maybe it came off as that because he wasn't meant to be in a group. That's why he did well solo. Sometimes you are too much for the group. Sometimes, no, you're right. You're right. It could have been perceived that way. He was too prideful because he was too much for the group. Because the clips that I saw, he was genuinely shocked. Like, what is their problem? And they just kept, he's doing too many runs and stuff like that. I said, what? And like one of the people, I was like, but your vocals are flat though. Exactly. You gotta think too, it's reality TV. So it's clipped in a certain way to where you look like horrible. That sounded like a famous individual who was in the music industry and was a bad mentor. Oh, you know, it's so crazy. I love that show. We actually, that's, like I said, I've just always been very big on music and stuff like that. So we enjoyed the process of seeing that, and like people actually bring together certain groups. And I don't know. I don't know, you guys. Just be vigilant, be discerning. I'm not sure if you, I don't know. I don't know if you have any personal experiences. I don't want to step on nobody's toes. You know what I'm saying? And like, and say something that I don't know anything about. That's why I also don't like, and it's not easy. Let me give a rundown. When I'm talking about music and stuff like that, it's more so me like direct to artists and musicians and things. When I reference certain artists, it's going to be relative to their work. But I set a very clear boundary on my platform because I don't want people to think that this is like a blogger channel, because that's not my lane. Yeah, like when I do content and stuff like that, it's genuine, it's genuinely grassroots. Like I'm creating concepts and things like that. It's only if like people give me a specific request and if I feel like I can make that request align, but I don't know. I don't step on that territory. I don't get into that. And I encourage people, no matter who it is, and you know, sometimes people may get caught up because I don't know, maybe it's some other stuff going on, maybe they feel some kind of way, I don't know, but it's baseline. No matter what it is, no matter who it is, whatever, if you realize that you being under their counsel or their leadership, you're not getting far. And here's another thing too. Sometimes people will help another person get far because they're fond of that person. But when it comes to you, they may view you as a threat. So you also have to be able to compartmentalize and not get stuck thinking or expecting them to do the same thing for you that they did for them. They don't view that person as a threat. So they're not going to put you in the same positions that they did this other person. So even if you realize and if you pick up on there's differential treatment regarding you, well, I would even say in general, because if they're showing that they have that capacity, who's to say that your day soon won't come? But if they show those signs and stuff like that, I will also tread lightly when it comes to being up under them and working under them. I subscribe. Welcome, Matthew. Welcome to the community. Happy to have you. Oh, I just loved when you said my name. LOL, not many people do. Well, I'm happy to have you in the chat, Miguel. I'm not sure if you're still here, Laura Stevenson, but I appreciate that. Wow, did I finally run into a good channel? I take that as a compliment. Thank you. With lyrics, making sure they are solidified and can't be stolen. It sounds like a registration thing. Go to perrypublishingservices.com, Penny Mac, and we'll get your stuff registered. Because there's actually multiple registrations for. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot. It's a lot of different steps and things that you have to get in order. Always speak the truth, yeah. Oh, thank you. That's really sweet. You have kind eyes. Thank you. You are beautiful in mind, body, and spirit. Oh, I love that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Someone said, do you like Indian guy with big muscles like me? I'm weak. Oh, that's so cute. Someone said, do you have a soulmate? I have a couple. I do. So many beautiful people that God blessed me with in this lifetime. Someone said, marry me, I'm weak. We are creatures of habits, so our bodies are used to moving less, we're exhausted. I like that. I like that pointer. Because that's true, Jay New Orleans. Sometimes it's just the habit of things. So if you're so used to like being on the go and it's routine, and that's really true. So I had to work on that to like slow myself down. I'm sorry, you guys, I was catching up on older comments. Oh my gosh, you sent another donation? One video that stuck. Thank you, Mr. Grover. Whoa, thank you guys so much. I'm sorry that I didn't realize that. One video that stuck with me was a video where you talked about seeing the jealousy and snake in someone's eyes. Gave me chills. You know what's so funny? I was just now reading from that excerpt in the publication earlier when I was preparing for TikTok content. Wrong publication, I'm sorry. This one. I was just reading from that excerpt. That is so crazy. Earlier when I was figuring out content to make. Oh my gosh, Mr. Grover, you're on it. I love that. The snake envious archetype. And It's true. So that video was based off of me reading or pulling from that excerpt, The Snake Envious Archetype in the Green Eyes book. But it said that another way that you can detect this particular archetype is through their gaze, their eye gaze. The way that they stare at you, it's a coldness. Even with someone earlier who put in the comment section, you have kind eyes, and it's true because I have a lighthearted and a genuine approach when it comes to people. Even when you make me angry, I have an attitude of like, I believe in justice, but I'm never gonna do you dirty the way that you did me, ever. Now there is passion in my eyes though, like depending on certain situations. If I'm protective of something, absolutely. But a snake, someone who was like invested in your demise, setting you up, doing you dirty, it's in their eyes. You could see it. And when you look at them, you feel it. It's chilling. And it's true. That's why I'm like, child, envy is not anything to play with. No, I'm not in Texas. I'm in California. No. No. Their gaze, Gaze, oh, that's so funny. I gaze, Gaze, like staring. I cannot. Oh my God. What? That's crazy. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. I love you guys down. You guys, even though some of you all may be trolling me, it's still funny. Oh my gosh. Ooh. You guys, I'm gonna have to go though. I've been on here for literally hours. So sorry about that. Sorry. Maybe I wanted to catch up on some things. But, or maybe I needed to catch up on a couple of things with y'all, which I high-key did because a lot of things have launched since then. I mean, thank y'all for rocking with me for as long as you did. Sending you guys so much love. Have a great weekend, a great rest of your week. All of the resources that have launched regarding publishing services, my musicians, promoting your music, all of those details listed in the community tab, listed in the description of this live. Also posted it in the chat too, those direct links. So lock in with that. And yes, for individuals who do follow up and they send inquiries, we get back to you within 24 hours. So at this point, everyone who's already reached out with serious inquiries only, okay, have already been reached out to. So make sure if you're tuning into this live and you've reached out to me in the past, check your email, go to your email, check those responses because you've been responded to as far as next steps. For people who locked in with this live and they plan on reaching out or they already have sent inquiries as far as next steps, I'm gonna go ahead and follow up with you as well. But yeah, sending you guys so much love. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you guys soon.